That subscriber content, eh? That subscriber content, it just won't go away.
It might hibernate from time to time and sink back into the swamp. I think the cyclical nature of the universe in which it exists demands it adheres to some of its rules.
But it's always waiting there, just around the corner, ready to make its way into your ears and smash through the gated payment system, sounding better than ever.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Benefits such as getting ad-free episodes a week early with pre- and post-show chat relating to the monkeys, last Shadow Puppets episodes, bonus podcasts, watch-alongs, plus helping us improve our sound with better equipment and services.
Yeah, this podcast seems like it's fading away sometimes, but with subscribers, it will never die. Thank you very much for listening. We do truly appreciate it. Don't take that the wrong way.
Yeah, we'll invoice you for the subscription if we need to.
We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question. Cheers, dude. That man just yawned. What do you call it, sir?
Don't Believe the Hype.
Hello and welcome to Don't Believe the Hype. Sorry, I've just surprised Justin with a different background photo there and I started laughing immediately. Don't Believe the Hype Series 4, episode 16 of, well, 17 tracks, but 18 with a wrap-up. So we're getting lower and lower. I think the first album we got to like 20 something, but we keep going lower and lower, and it'll be, sadly, it will just keep getting lower and lower until there's none left. But I am again joined by the straight chiller himself, the chinchilla himself, Justin, from the Straight Chiller podcast. Hello, Justin.
Hello. I'm back, and I'm a little worried now, especially now that we know that Nick has pneumonia. That everybody's going to be, giving me the side eye. I had nothing to do with this.
Yes, I have. So I have heard sort of Wuhan Labs claims about you and Nick, and sort of getting pneumonia in his coffee.
Especially my ties to Asia. I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to say it, but
I mean, I know I just sent Nick a bunch of vinyls, in the mail.
Vials.
Package in there. Yeah. But no, I hope he's okay, and I hope he's well soon.
Yeah, so he has pneumonia, and he was in and out of hospital, so he might be out for a little while with it. So we will see. But Justin was coming along for Evil Twin anyway. And so it's kind of worked out okay for now, and then we'll figure out the rest. But yeah, we'll see. But it's we're doing a big track tonight. It's a B-side, but it's like an honorary album track, isn't it? I always think it's like perhaps it should be more than an honorary album track, but that's for us to debate this evening. But what's your, without going into too much detail because we're going to get there, but what's your kind of thoughts on this one as an overview?
Well, it does have all the elements of album track. It's got, like you said before, it's got a video that we're going to cover. It's got some more meaty lyrics, and I think that this is one of those strange ones that can leave you scratching your head if you think about it too long, about why this is a B-side. But as a B-side, I mean, it's definitely top tier for sure, and it's one that I never really get tired of, and I think it has its own kind of unique sound that fits special in this album's kind of like history, I guess. So I like it. I like this track. You're
a big fan of the Humbug and Favorite Worst Nightmare B-sides, I think it's fair to say. So does this one have the chance of being in an overall B-side top 10? Or does it lose out to your favorite ears?
No, I mean, this one in particular, we mentioned 2 weeks ago on IDST about there being 38, if you strip away a lot of the covers and stuff like that. And I think this one definitely makes a top 10. There's definitely going to be some higher, probably from some of my favorite albums. But I mean, this I don't think it has the potential maybe to reach top 5, but I think top 10 is absolutely reasonable.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a high one for me, and it sort of sent me on a little journey today. But we'll talk about that in a bit, and not a physical journey, a mental one. But I really like it. I think it's as good as anything that this album, or I think actually weirdly, well, we'll talk about it later. But we're starting the journey to AM. It feels like is all I'll say, but we'll get into it later. But we are kind of now on that track. I think from, if anything, we're kind of, even though we're still very much in Suck It and See, I feel like if we were on a train, we'd have detached the Suck It and See carriage and let it go, and we'd be kind of running away towards AM. But we've got a lot. Yeah, we've got, obviously tonight we have some information on this one. We have some reviews, and we have something that I discovered in the reviews, which is a slight annoyance. So we'll get to that. We have a little bonus round in a bit. We have the video for subscribers to watch, because this is the third part of a trilogy, which is out of order for us, but was in order for releases, I believe. Perhaps. Yeah, it must have been, because Suck It and See was the last one, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
And
no, it would have been Suck It and See first, and then this one, because this is the B-side to Suck It and See.
Yes, and then it was
our fourth single. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was in order for releases, but out of order for us going chronologically. Yes, that makes sense.
For sure,
yeah. Obviously, we'll get into the music, the lyrics, which I think bring up some stuff. I will reveal this now. There are 3 lines of lyrics in this song that I think have a chance of being in my all-time top 20 Alex lyrics when we get there. So we will reveal those as we go. And we'll also have probably have quite a hot take this evening, a bit of a debate about something like this, I would imagine. Yeah, you got a couple. We got a few. So without further ado, then. I'm being a bit cheeky tonight. I'm being a bit cheeky. We're near the end. It's a B-side, and I kind of got the live version of this, which is from Coachella 2012, which the full gig is available for subscribers on Patreon. And otherwise, you can go and buy it for £3. I'll watch along of that, or you can subscribe and check it out. But I did rip off the whole track because they play it a little bit faster than the album. Not loads, but a little bit. And I thought, you know what, sod it, it's the B-sides. We're going to watch the whole clip. So let's have a listen.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Coachella, you're gonna fucking love this next tune. It's called Evil Twin. Get on this shit. You never met before, but still she greets you like a long lost rock and roll. She's definitely one of those where you'll go wherever she goes. And my body and my mind both start talking at the exact same time, trying to think of ways to make her mine, but they're difficult to find. It's not what I need. No, your love's not what I need. So don't give it to me. Said, oh, well, I know this will sound cold, but I really have to go. And it's not that I'm not free, there's nowhere I need to be. It's just your love's not what I need, so don't give it to me. It's not what I need. Oh, your love's not what I need, so don't give it to me. She said, baby, I cannot believe you. How can I believe you when you can't believe your love? There's no point sticking to the plan when it's going short. I'll have another one then. It's what a hunger down on first. You break it out the second time before you know about the first. Looks well equipped to leave you in the lurch, but you let her do a word. And it's not hard to tell, it's obvious the fucking angel's faces fell when she told him that she had to go, swap her wings and overcoat for something colorful. Thanos. to me. So don't give it to me. So don't give it to me. Your love's not what I need. So don't give it to me.
Ah, that was
Fantastic.
lovely. A really good performance, isn't it? I remember when we watched that for the watch along. I thought, wow, a thundering performance. I stand by that time or that gig is the beginning of Alex as a stage performer that has developed as we go. Like, he didn't really do mad stuff like he was doing there, where he was holding out the guitar and going, this one's a fucking before he speaks, and Coachella in that voice he started doing, that kind of Coachella. But he changes he sort of says fucking Angel's Faces Fell. There was a moment when I thought he was going to fuck it up. I thought he was going to mess the line up, but he had it perfectly controlled, to be fair on him. So I love him. But yeah, I love that performance of it. I think that's the best one I've seen.
What did Matt have in his teeth? Did you see Matt? At one point, it looked like he had a Black and Mild or something, but then it looks like he's chewing it.
Yeah, at first I thought, did he have a plectrum? But then I thought, why would he have a plectrum? But yeah, he has a kind of, who knows, maybe it's chewing gum? A bubble gum or something, maybe like a black one, like a licorice, yeah. I mean, God, imagine playing the drums like that and chewing bubble gum. I'd probably choke to death. Sorry, I was just seeing if I could get a sort of different picture for the back here, but it's a bit blurry. But it reminded me, on my search, it reminded me, just purely for subscribers, but it reminded me of my favourite Arctic Monkeys picture of all time, which I'm definitely going to use when we're in the Tranquility era, which is this one. I mean, that is just sensational. Look at that. That is great. But yeah, we'll go back to this one. But yes, so there you go. An absolutely belting track and a belting live track. It's a shame it hasn't come back ever, and it probably never will, to be fair. But I think it kind of summed up the beginning of the fun times. Suck It and See was pretty fun, but we were moving towards an even funner time with AM, and this is the beginning. And this was one of the catalysts. Should say as well, as I said on the Coachella Live watch, that Alex's new girlfriend, Ariella Vandenberg, who you may say AM is written about, you may say it isn't written about her, but, all I'd say is Arabella's quite close to Ariel, isn't it? And she's at the side of the stage with her friends dancing along to it. So he's showing off, maybe, on the stage, though, of his new hot American Californian girlfriend, eh? Who wouldn't be showing off? So should we do some information about the track?
Sure.
Evil Twin is 3 minutes and 17 seconds long. That live performance was 2 minutes 45, by the way. So the shape is fast.
I think Nick tried to take a little control when they go into the kind of bridge area. They
slow down a bit.
Little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you always wonder that if you weren't expecting it to be that fast, so you have to sort of reorchestrate your pace mid in a second live. That must be pretty crazy. Although I guess it's well, maybe was it Matt? Was it Matt's fault that he speed it up? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Drums and bass normally control the speed, don't they? I would have thought, or the tempo, wouldn't they? And then or maybe it was just mad Alex. But 3 minutes 17 is long, and the recorded track with just 16.1 million streams on Spotify. Well, I say just. It's not just because it's the most on the Suck It and See era, but 16.1 is quite a lot for a B-side, to be fair. Sometimes I forget, because of the high numbers that Arctic Monkeys get, that 16.1 is what a lot of artists would love to get for an unreleased track, so...
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, I would assume that Suck It and See as an album generally is lower. And if I remember, I think All My Own Stunts was the lowest, and I think that was just the 18. So it's still fallen lower than that, unfortunately. So that's
yeah, because I think it's a fan favorite, but maybe it's only a fan favorite to the fans. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not it's not. I don't think it's one that your average person would know, which is a shame. But we can talk about that as a concept later as well. And there's good reason to think that it might have been a hit as well. In fact, as this was out probably just before streaming took its grip on music, there is reasons coming up to suggest that it was actually quite a big track. But before we do that, I just want to ask you a question.
That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question.
Just one of the last times we'll be able to do it. But what do you think the highest? It's quite easy. What do you think the highest streamed B-side of the next era AM is? If this is the highest streamed of this era.
Ooh, I know there's two really popular ones, but I think ultimately, especially with the younger TikTok crowd and everything like that, I think I'd ultimately end on You're So Dark.
No, it's Stop the World. I want to get off with you.
Oh, I mean, that's the two ones. Yeah, but I thought, oh, You're So Dark would take it. Okay.
Wait, you've got me worried now that I missed something because that was good reasoning. Although maybe You're So Dark's a bit too raunchy for the current youth. I don't know what's allowed. I don't know what's allowed anymore.
Yeah, they are a little bit more prudish, aren't they?
Yes, quite significantly so, I think. But they're also quite sexually liberated, so I don't really understand it sometimes. Like they're sexually liberated in the real world, but quite prudish about stuff on entertainment. But at the same time, a lot of the artists I hear, like Charlie XX and that, are quite raunchy in the lyrics.
Yeah,
so I don't know. It's hard to tell what the rules are anymore. Try writing a comedy. So Stop the World Again Up For You is 161.2 million streams on Spotify. And You're So Dark is only 39 million, so it's way ahead.
Way ahead. Wow.
Way ahead, yeah. So you have me doubting myself there, but yeah. I think when I ask people, generally I hear a lot more about Stop the World, like like You're So Dark and stuff, but generally for the fans that came for AM, I think Stop the World was seen as a huge hit.
It's more accessible too, for sure. That's another one that's questionable about its kind of status.
Yeah, but it is a pretty good tune as well. So it's understandable really that they would like it, and it's a great. I think I heard Alex. We'll get to it when we do it, but I think Alex in an interview once someone said to him, "Could you believe that nobody had ever written that line before? Stop the world, I want to get off with you." And he was like, "No, I couldn't." So there you go. This track is again produced by Ross Orton, like last week. So presumably either they got him in again, or it was produced at the same time as Little Illusion Machine, maybe. The song is 176 beats per minute and is in the key of E, but it has an E key and a minor mode. So we've got just before the finish line, they threw some minor in there, which is a shame. Yeah, but maybe next week as well. Probably isn't then. But there you go. We nearly had a full run. It'd be interesting. It'd probably point out that we had a full run on like another album or something we just didn't notice at the time. The song has been played live 123 times by the band, which is an okay run for a B-side. Firstly, on October 4th, 2011, at the Pageant St. Louis. And lastly, on October 30th, 2014, at Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion, the Woodlands, Texas, USA. So you guys got it. Pretty much for its full run, mostly. And I think it did come here as well.
Not only that, I will say part of my notes that I took was I mentioned this before, but I saw them twice. I saw them 3 times, but when this song could have been played. So I saw them October 2011 during the Second NC tour. I also saw them January 2014 during the AM tour. And in both of those set lists, Evil Twin was played both times.
Yeah, you've just got me thinking. So I saw them November 2nd, 2011, which wasn't far after you seeing them. In Manchester, and they played Evil Twin on that one. And the other time I saw them on that tour was Don Valley, where they did the big gig there in 2012. Actually, was it? It might have been before the album came out. Actually, I think it was. So Evil Twin almost definitely would have been made because it was June 2011. Evil Twin wasn't on that. No, so I've heard it once. So there you go. So you heard it once more than I.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do tend to, I think, like I've said it before, they get a lot more freedom with the US tour and stuff because they don't have to, like here, like they get moaned at if they don't play certain tracks. So, so in the US tour, they can play a bit more of the sort of stuff that I'd love to go see them in America for that reason, I think, just to hear some stuff. But I've always got this dream. I've got this dream of slipping in without my girlfriend. Slipping in without my girlfriend. That was a problematic sentence, wasn't it? That could be clipped up there. Yeah. So,
without my girl.
Oh God. But I was gonna we were planning a trip to LA, and it was. I was thinking if I can try and because of the fires now it has to be put off. I can try and sort of time that trip to LA with the next Arctic Monkeys album and suggest that date without a like, oh, I think we should go around that time. And then when we get there, oh wow, what a coincidence! Arctic Monkeys are playing. Let's get tickets. To be fair, she'd probably be up for it, so I don't know why I'm trying to lie. So I did have something for you, which is a little bit different than its usual iteration. So we knew, normally this is I get you to guess Nick to guess the sort of sales numbers on this. Well, there wasn't sales numbers because it was the B-side. We've already done it with Suck It and See, obviously. But this did have a chart position in the UK. And an interesting fact about that chart position. So in the top, I'll tell you this now, it's in the top 50. So it made it into the top 50. Where in the top 50 do you think that the Evil Twin, not Suck It and See, Evil Twin was placed?
Yeah, because if I remember, I think Evil Twin ultimately placed higher than Suck It and See. If I remember correctly, I want to say 35.
Okay. Well, let me read this first because there's a shock. There's a Wikipedia mistake here. So the song was released via MP3 digital download and 7-inch vinyl, which you have recently acquired, with the song Evil Twin appearing as a B-side. It is one of the rarest that a B-side for a single has charted higher than the song itself on release due to downloads. So the downloads did play a part in it. With Suck It and See reaching number 149 in the chart and Evil Twin reaching number 114 on the UK singles chart. So I went to investigate this on the official charts website. I searched Evil Twin, and according to the official UK charts website, it went into the top 100 for 2 weeks. So it fell into 116 for 2 weeks, and then it got into the top 75 for 2 weeks, and then it went into the top 40 for 1 week, and then it got into the top 20 for 1 week, where it charted at number 16.
Wow.
In the list. So it got way higher than any other track of Suck It and See. Like, this is like the best charting track of Suck It and See.
Do you remember how high Don't Sit Down got? Because that might be a good little point for my hot take later.
Yes, I think it's worth holding on to this fact for the hot take later, isn't it? For the hot takes. But yes, I will check that now. UK charts, official website. Don't Sit Down because the movie Chair charted at Don't Sit Down. Come on, there's no other song with that title. Just come on. Highest charting was 28. So that wasn't a million miles away, but still, like, yeah, I suppose quite a lot, considering that's probably what you would regard as the biggest single from this album. So yeah, interesting one that, and yes, hold on to that. That's a good topic of discussion for what I imagine some of our hot takes are going to be later. So we will make a note to come back to that. So during the show at the O2 Arena in London on the 29th of October 2012, Alex Turner introduced the song by dedicating it to friend and fellow Last Shadow Puppets band member, our friend and yours, Miles Kane. Again, Miles Kane getting his greasy hands into another episode. He did the same 3 months later at their concert in Melbourne's Festival Hall, where he said, "Want to play this new song? It's called Evil Twin, dedicated to Mr. Miles Kane, 'cause he's mine." So there you go. He's his evil twin, is what he's saying there. Which
we talked about that, though. I can't remember.
Yes, we did, didn't we? It was the article, wasn't it?
Or the Dracula.
Oh no, it was. Yes, it was Dracula Teeth when I read the article, but I think we did then reference that article briefly in the Dracula in Little Illusion Machine episode. But yeah, if we didn't, then I read on Dracula Teeth subscriber episode for Shadow Puppets. Come join us. Then we discussed. There's an article where Alex sort of turned up hungover, and the journalist was a bit like annoyed, but then as he got more into it, he was okay. But then Miles turned up even more hungover and derailed the whole interview again. But he didn't ask him to come to his room, which is a step up, I guess. So that would imply that he is the devil on Alex's shoulder, perhaps you might say. But it's interesting. Obviously, we're going to get to it in the lyrics, but he's referencing it that way because the song's called Evil Twin. But I don't think the lyrical content. I'm intrigued to think why you think it's called Evil Twin, actually. I
that's
have
a
a
good
theory, but I'm sure you do. It is, yeah. So, but we will get there soon. But should we have a little listen to Alex introducing Miles for the song? Or not introducing, but dedicating.
I want to play this new song. It's called Evil Twin. And I dedicate it to Mr. Miles K. because he's mine.
So there you go. Because he's mine. So, Alex there, because he's mine. So yeah, very Alex, and the love affair between him and Miles continues. So let's do the gear for this episode, shall we?
Technological advances really blooming get me in the mood.
So this one has, this is the best I could get out of this one. Probably some kind of fuzz pedal he's using, something like the Electro Harmonics Big Muff, which we know he has used for other heavy tracks in this album, so that's probably a good guess that guitar sound on this one is using the Big Muff Electro Harmonics again, which is their Big Muff pedals are great. So, yes, let's get to the reviews, because there's perhaps something in here that I want to talk about. So in my efforts to do the research for this one, on the B-sides, it's always a bit of a struggle to find, reviews and stuff like that for them.
Sure.
But I came across this title as I was scrolling through the depths of Google trying to find a review. This blog by somebody called Yeki Mikey popped up, and the title caught my attention. The title was Sex and the Shitty. That's Sex and the Shitty Arctic Monkeys AM album review. That's Sex and the Shitty Arctic Monkeys AM album review. And I thought, is that a bad review for AM? Let's delve into this. So I went on it, and he says, or she, to be fair, Mikey though, so there should be a law that artists be banned from saying what their new material will sound like in interviews. With the release a year ago of the stunning double A side Are You Mine / Evil Twin, first contentious part about this blog that annoyed me was that never existed, did it? That's not a real thing that happened, is it? The Are You Mine / Evil Twin B-side? No. At first I thought, was it in America released that way? But no, there was nowhere near each other. There's no way it could have been. So straight away that's annoyed me. So everything he says after that is invalid, I think, if you're going to get a simple thing like that wrong. And then he said, in that EP, the Monkees promised they were turning the amps up to 11. Oh, use that joke a lot. Bad news for those who believe the hype. Oh, well done. There are 3 rock songs. 2 you will already know, the brooding, dirty menace of Do I Wanna Know, and one of the very songs that were released 12 months ago, Are You Mine? What follows this opening and brass salvo makes it more of a surprise that Are You Mine is included. It's the best thing on here. Snaring vocals, thundering drums, riffs to die for, and very, very out of place. I've never heard that take of AM before, because my opinion of AM is even though the rock and roll of Are You Mine, and I don't really see Do I Wanna Know as that rock and roll. I think it's rock guitar, but it's got a hip hoppy slow pace to it, hasn't it? It's got a vibe. And Arabella is hip hop with sort of Black Sabbath choruses. I don't think it feels out of place though, because I think the hip hopness of AM kind of blends with the rock. They kind of did something that was the beauty of it, was that people hadn't really heard that much before, that kind of sexy late night hip hop vibe with some rock guitar in there as well. So I didn't really go for that, to be honest, and I don't think I've ever read a review that says that about him before, to be honest. This is where you're going to tell me you agree with that, and that it's AM's a bad vibe.
No. It's actually this is good for this discussion, because it's something I'm going to bring up about this track even later in a similar kind of vein. But
okay.
I think that Are You Mine? I could maybe see where someone would maybe have that opinion, but I think sonically, even though the pacing is different, I think sonically, it fits with the I Want It All. Do I Want to Know?
Yeah, I Want It All. Yeah.
Road. No, not Mad Sound, but yeah, I mean that first half definitely for sure. Arabella.
Yeah, and yeah, I think I agree. Yeah, I can see why somebody would be jabbed by hip hop and rock, but I just think they got that right. They got that blend right. I've never once listened to it and thought that doesn't work flowing. I don't mind the breakup either of even Number One Party Anthem and Mad Sounds. I think Mad Sounds is probably the most out of place one, but like Number One Party Anthem fits perfectly even within that, and I think that's probably because of the lyrical content more than anything. But it's I think AM's part of its success is getting that right, that flow right on the album. So, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about AM. But it just struck me as an odd thing, really. Yeah. So to be annoyed by that as well, like just. Even if it did irk you that it was a better place, it's still a great album, and there's nothing wrong with the other tracks. Unless this person was just so annoyed they wanted like a full-out Evil Twin Are You Mine album, and that's the thing with them. That's what I expected as well, going into AM, that it was going to be full Are You Mine, sort of tracks, but they always surprise you, don't they, with the album when it comes out, so, Then this led me to a website called Tony Truel, which did a list of the best Arctic Monkeys B-sides. They put Evil Twin at number 3, saying, Evil Twin, this track boasts one of Arctic Monkeys' most mesmerizing bass lines, an integral part of what makes it exceptional, a perfect anti-love song. The Stone Age-esque guitars roar to life right from the first second, propelling the song into an entirely different realm of energy that's palpable to anyone who listens. The vocal performance on this track takes on an irresistibly sultry and seductive quality. I think that's a good point. I think one of the things that blends those tracks in AM is Alex's change of voice to, even in the rock songs and the hip hop songs, he's doing this kind of sultry Alex voice, this sort of sexy tone to it. I think that helps blend everything together as well. And they also said it's an enticing invitation that could even make the staunchest rock and roll skeptics reconsider their stance. In fact, it's almost impossible not to recall Alex Turner's memorable Brit speech after this song and agree with him. Rock and roll will always be waiting around the corner, I guess. So that was their blog, but
That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question.
So based off that review there, what I was going to ask you what you think else would be in this person's top 10 of the B-sides.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, sure.
So number 10.
Do you know when it came out? Does it include the A and B sides?
October 2nd, 2023.
Okay.
So it includes all the B-sides.
Okay.
Would it include? It wouldn't include. Yeah, the car came out 2022.
It
I'm
would.
talking about. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So track 10, I'll give you. This is a B-side. I'll give you a clue for each one. So this is a B-side, which, I mean, what I'll say for this list is, and I'll just quickly scan it. Ooh, I think you're gonna like this. I think you're gonna like this list.
This might be my list.
It might be your list. What I'll say is for the clue. So keep in mind that they had Evil Twin in there at number 3. Number 3. Track 10 is Lives in a Similar World to Evil Twin, let's say.
Okay. Lives in a similar world. Then I would say Electricity.
You are correct. They had Electricity at number 10. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to go through their full review of it, but they called it the aptly titled Electricity is a musical powerhouse that lives up to its name, delivering an electrifying surge of energy that never relents. Number 9 on their list is from the Humbug era, and I would keep in mind that they've so far chosen Electricity and Evil Twin.
Okay. Well, I mean, I gotta go with Brightline Dining Room. I mean, even if it's not that, it would be weird for me not to choose it. But if it's not that one, then it's gotta be Catapult. So, but I'll go Brightline Dining Room.
I might have misled you by saying keep in mind those, but Sketchhead is what they have.
Oh, weird. Okay.
So it's one of the maybe one after my heart in there because I'm a big Sketchhead fan. So, but I get what I meant was it has that kind of guitar-y, faster face to it.
Yeah.
They said, do you have a brainstorm-shaped hole in your heart? Well, Sketchhead is another song about another almighty dude who waltzes into parties, and the star of the show is Matt Helder's drumming.
Okay.
It usually is. It usually is. The track 8 is also from the Humbug era, and it's a change of pace in terms of what they've so far gone for.
Okay. Then I would say if it's a change of pace, then I would say joining the dots.
You would be correct in saying joining the
right.
dots. They said, which is actually quite an astute. This is actually quite a good Ads Monkeys fan. Get in touch if you're listening, and maybe you can come on while Nick's ill. Joining the Dots carries a hauntingly beautiful quality that feels like the perfect setting for a Miles Kane cameo, evoking strong echoes of the Last Shadow Puppets. I think that's fair to say. I don't want him on there though. Let's clarify that one. Yeah.
I like how it is. Yep.
Yeah, like how it is, but I could see what they mean in terms of the perhaps B-side. Like we were saying about the there was a song. God, was that? It might have been a pre-show album actually that reminded us. There was something we listened to that me and you were talking about, reminding us of B-sides. Yeah, B-sides of Shadow Puppets
and
yes,
Telepathy and
yeah. Joining the Dots could perhaps live in that world, but so much better, obviously. Number 7 is back all the way back to the Suck It and See era, and is
Blondo
not
Sonic.
quite.
I'm just gonna guess Blondo.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, I didn't really know how to describe that really without giving the ghost away. They say it's a track that immerses itself in the essence of a sand-strewn desert, bearing a striking resemblance to the allure of Humbug era Arctic Monkeys. Probably fair to say. I think I referenced it maybe being quite Queens of Stone Age on the episode. So, track 6 is all the way back to the first era, and the biggest clue I can give you, if you remember all the way back then, is that it's my favorite B-side from the beginning.
Well then, that's kind of throwing me off actually a little bit. Are they?
Oh, right, sorry.
We've had some trouble with this one of whether the single is counted as a B-side or not, because you have
Oh no, it's not.
Specs. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's not
Bigger Boys.
Correct. It is Bigger Boys is my favorite B-side then. Yeah.
I was gonna say that we've talked about it. I always count Leave Before the Lights Come On as a B-side, but I know that you've also mentioned that you like Leave Before the Lights Come On, so that's what was throwing me off.
Yeah. I don't count Leave Before the Lights. Oh, you do count as a B-side, and I don't. Yeah. The single release, just
Bigger Boys.
The single release. Do you think the B-side thing is like a bigger thing here, like the staunch rules of what's a B-side and what's not, than it is in America, perhaps?
Maybe, yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, I always just check it as like things that weren't on the album. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not as much as a Nazi as Nick Elon Musk Lee, but I'm not. He's quite strict with these rules that he's invented in terms of the tracks and stuff like that. But this has to be a B-side, that has to be. He's quite. But no, I do see that as a B-side because because I think back then I used to buy the singles and it was a B-side on that, so it's kind of stuck like that. But number 5 on this list brings us to the AM era, and as I'll let you have the same debate that you had earlier.
Yeah, well then I guess I'll go with Stop the World since it seems to be so much more popular.
True. It was Stop the World. I Want to Get Off With You. They've said, I vividly recall the first time I stumbled upon this track, a song that left me hitting repeat at least 10 times in a row. So there you go. I loved it. Although what they said about Bigger Boys and Stone Sweethearts was that it's harkening back to a time when Alex Turner wasn't the charismatic dreamboat, but a guy singing about how he couldn't catch anyone's fancy. There you go. The more bitter I like it, they say. Well, this person is after my own heart. So bloody hell! I've just accidentally started to read the track out before I said it. Let's see if you caught that.
I was not paying attention. I don't think so.
Oh, good. So track 4 is from your favorite era.
Oh, okay.
And it's not in line with the Evil Twins. It's not in line with that stuff.
There's two that I would put here. So, or in this air, or like in this space. So, it's tough. Too much to ask.
Correct. Too much to ask is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, well done. They say it's truly remarkable that Turner penned this one when he was barely 20 years old, yet the lyrics bear the mark of a lyrical craftsman beyond his years. That is a very big favourite of mine from that era. Too much to ask. I love it.
Me too. Yeah.
Phenomenal bass. Again, the track 3 was Evil Twin, as we know. Number 2 on their list was I don't want to confuse you again. I do regard this as a B-side, even though it was off an EP from the first album era. But I can't really give you any clues other than that because it'll be too obvious.
I'm gonna go No Buses then.
Wow, you are correct. No Buses is undeniably an Arctic Monkeys classic, celebrated for its unique and captivating qualities. The song's lo-fi charm and persuasive fuzziness. Yeah, so there you go. Now I'm not going to give
my number 1, honestly. I like this list quite a bit.
Well, I'm not going to give you any clues for the top spot. I'm going to let you gather all the thoughts of what this person has already put in the top 9, which is in line perhaps with your own thoughts, and see if you can place what track they would have as number 1.
Yes, and honestly, it's hard because except for the Suck It and See era, because they had Blondo Sonic and Evil Twin, there's at least one track from each era that I think could take this role. Like I really from the first one, I think it could be something like Settle for the Draw. For the second one, I think it could be like The Bakery. From the third, I think it could be Fright Night Dining Room. And from AM, he could have You're So Dark. And then we could have Anyways here too.
Do you want me to narrow it down a bit, or are you going to just take a punt?
Well, no, I'll take a swing. And if I miss it, then maybe we can I'll take the swing. Okay. And if I miss it, we can go to the album. How about that?
Yes, that's fair.
I'll take the swing and say Anyways.
Oh, I really wanted you to take the swing and get it right.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not. It's from your favorite era.
Then I'm going to go Bakery.
You will be correct. I really thought you were going to say it. When you said The Bakery, I had to try and not smile. I was like, oh, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. That would have been very impressive, to be fair. But you did say it, though. So you were right in a way, because you narrowed it down to all the Bakery. Because they only said Too Much to Ask from Favourite Worst Nightmare, didn't they? So
yeah.
You narrowed down it from all the others. They did have The Bakery at number 1, which I was surprised of, actually, to be fair, out of the list. Like you say, it could have gone anywhere, really. Mm-hmm. They said, "Oh, how I love Alex Turner's sappier songwriting." This is a person I think we need to meet this person. I think it's also someone after my heart. Writing and platonic love declarations. This one right here has a unique quality of evoking nostalgia and a sense of innocence. Correct. So there you go. Great list. Well done. And if you're listening to this, well done. Get in touch.
Yeah.
artmonkeys@gmail.com. So we get to our enemy list, which you remember last week chose not to include Little Illusion Machine in its list. But in fact, I'm going to ask you, not a bonus round, but based off, we've been pretty happy for the most part with the Suck It and See ratings, haven't we, in this enemy list?
Yeah.
Where would you expect this person that created this list to place Evil Twin in their songs?
I'm honestly expecting this one to be in the top 50. Potentially. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have rated them quite high. I mean, I wouldn't be even surprised necessarily if they put it in the top 30, but I'm definitely...
Do you want me to...
If it's not in the top 50, I'll be so surprised.
So I'll give you some other Suck It and See benchmarks to jog your memory.
Sure.
So I'll give you the singles so that you can kind of... Suck It and See was 25 in this list, the track. We obviously know Don't Sit Down was created like 70, but Brit was at like 60 something.
Okay.
And they put Hellcat at 39. What's the first IDST? Where did they put IDST? That's a good...
That was low. It was like the last... I think it was...
Yeah, it was near the end, wasn't it? Yeah, so that was low. We haven't had... They didn't put Little Illusion Machine in. Oh, Blondo Sonic. Where was that?
That was
96. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But we have, as we know, this is probably superior to them. So that would imply... So the highest one in the list from Suck It and See, I do believe Suck It and See was at 25.
No. That's where you're wrong.
No.
Number 8.
That's it. Yeah. That's where you're wrong. Was number... No, not number 8. Did you say?
I think so.
Oh, number 11. Number 11.
Okay.
So Suck It and See 25, 11. Yeah.
I don't think it would be higher than Suck It and See, but maybe it would be higher than Hellcats. But it's tough to say. It definitely top 50. I'll say then 45.
Astonishingly, they placed this at number 19 in the list, so higher than Suck It and See, which I love this song, but that annoyed me. So yeah, they rate this as the second best song of the Suck It and See era. Wow. Saying, "Do you like rock and roll?" Turner would hoot by way of stately introduction to this mighty B-side, one of the many gems that adorn the band's early 2010s set lists. His question quickly became redundant. Evil Twin is the end of a tether compressed into a no-muss, no-fuss barnstormer where riffs roar and the drumming rollicks. That knows. So, yeah, there you go. They pretty much liked it. Wow. But before we get to the music, the subscribers get to hear us chat and watch the music video for this B-side. And the rest of you just get nothing because you're not paying. So, there you go. What more can I say other than that? So yes, we just watched the video. If you want to check that out, get paying, cheapskates. No, we love you. We love you all. We love you all. I'm amazed anybody does pay. Justin pays and co-hosts it. Think about that dedication. Yeah.
But to be fair, I was dedicated to listening to the podcast for a long time, and I just signed up. So it's all about time too. Available time.
Yeah. Yes, we've had people who have had to unsubscribe and apologize for that, and I'm like, don't worry about it. It's really not. I'm amazed anybody pays, and it's just it's not any money that we take to live off or anything, you know what I mean? It's just kind of money that we keep there for cool things that might come up. So yes, it's absolutely fine. But I should be saying, really selling it by saying, no, we live day to day on this money, so please subscribe. We're really struggling. This is why Nick's got pneumonia. He can't pay to put his heating on in his house. Like it's
we're paying to take care of it.
We need more. If he was in America, can you imagine the hospital bills if he was in America? Well, we need the subscriber money then, wouldn't we? So yeah, please, if please, it's kind of like the Arrested Development before it got cancelled. Please, if you want to save Nick's life, please subscribe to this show, please. So the music on this one, I mean, sensational, in my opinion. Absolutely one of the best rock songs, maybe, that they've done.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so that they've done, you mean just up to this point, or for this album?
I'm gonna recategorize it as one of the best desert rock songs, which I think is an important distinction because I don't class Are You Mine or anything as desert rock, but I very much class this as desert rock. Queens of the Stone Age. That's it, really. There's not many desert rock bands. Anything Josh Homme's involved with, that's desert rock. So yeah. I think up to this point, is this my favorite? Well, you've thrown an important question out there. Up to this point, is this my favorite rock song of theirs? I think I prefer it to any of the rock songs on this album, if I'm being completely honest, which will give you a clue into what maybe one of my hot takes is. Mm-hmm. And I love this album, but in my head, like when I say I love Suck It and See, Evil Twin is a part of that, Yeah. Is there a rock song on Humbug that I prefer to this? No, I don't think so. Is there any rock songs on Humbug that you would class as a rock song? I don't.
Maybe Potion Approaching, but that would be maybe the closest one, I guess.
Closest one. Oh yeah, I do love Potion Approaching, but do I love it more than this? I do love Potion Approaching more than this, yeah. But I'm not. I don't know. I don't really class it as rock. It's more like stoner rock. It's important. Desert rock, stoner rock. These are different. And then, what would you class as a rock song on Favorite Worst Nightmare? As the Favorite Worst Nightmare expert,
a rock song.
If You Were There, Beware. Is that a rock song?
And maybe even What If You Were Right First Time?
You Were Right First Time. Yeah. I've actually said before, haven't I, on this podcast, that What If You Were Right First Time is one of the biggest sounds they ever managed to create. So,
especially during the kind of like solo part thing, or like the bridge-esque part. Yeah, they get pretty big there.
Yes, despite being billed as a rock band, which I don't think they're indie that much, and I don't think they're fully rock. I think they started somewhere between that and then what they are now. But I think it might be okay. So it'd be What If You Were Right First Time. This up to this point, and Potion Approaching, if we're counting it, would be the three that I would pull out as being big rock sounds of theirs. But I don't prefer it to Potion Approaching, but I think it's a better rock song than Potion Approaching. So yeah, I'm going to say it. I think it might be my favourite desert rock song that they've done up to this point.
Okay. Yeah.
Or rock song, yeah.
Since there's so many hot takes, I will say this about this song, about the sound too. I think, to me, Evil Twin is the only rock song from this whole era that appropriately captures the sonic sound that I think of for Suckin' and See and the lyrical connection to Suckin' and See. Like, I think it's the only one. There's somewhere it kind of sounds like the Suckin' and See sound, but maybe the lyrics are more of a joke. And then there's something like the lyrics match more of what Suckin' and See is going for, but it sonically is different. I think this is the only one that represents both of those categories.
I would agree with that, yeah, because the fast songs of Suck It and See quite clearly don't do that. You could make a case for Brick by Brick, perhaps, but I don't really class that as a rock song. It's more, it's neither or. Brick by Brick obviously is kind of silly, but is essentially about love. But I would go with that. I think it does. It connects that. If this was, then yeah, we don't want to touch on what I'm sure a hot take is going to be later. But yeah, I think you're right. It does bridge the gap between the rock and the lyrics of Suck It and See. I would agree with that. I'd base on the fact that I said it's got 3 of my favourite lyrics on it, and you know that Suck It and See take up a lot of my favourite lyrics of Alex's ever. You know, that kind of is telling as well. But yeah, obviously much to discuss on that later, probably, or too much to discuss over a bucket of balls. So a great drum intro on this one as well.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, sorry, before we talk about that, you asked me the question up to this point. So if I'd have said, no, I think it's the greatest rock song they've done, even up to now, present day, what would you have thought about that?
Oh, even
would you thought I've gone mental?
I would think, yeah. I mean, yeah. It is hard because they blend so many different kinds of genres. I mean, could you even say if you took a song like "The View from the Afternoon" has a heavier kind of sound? You know, it's hard to say like where do you start it and stop it. But I mean, I think it's definitely in the conversation. Like I said, if this were in a lot of top 10 list, let's say top 10 greatest rock songs that Arctic Monkeys have done, or top 10 B-sides, or top 10, like it would never surprise me. It would never be like, no, what are you talking about? That's crazy. You know, it's whether I would put it there, maybe not. But I mean, it doesn't blow my mind that anybody would think that for sure.
Yeah, no, I in agreement with that. I think, yeah, it's like I always say, isn't it, that I never liked them being classed as an indie band because the songs like View from the Afternoon were just rock and it was unfair. Dance Floor is probably about as indie as it got, you know, even Still Take You Home riff is quite. So yeah, I would agree with that. I think, what would you say this might be hard to answer, but what would you say their best rock song is up to this point? Like your favourite rock and roll song?
This point, rock and roll. I mean,
I'll give you mine because it's easy for me. It's Are You Mine? By far,
you mean their whole? Oh yeah. Okay, well, if we're doing.
Sorry, up to now, present. I mean,
I would say, definitely. Are You Mine? And it's hard to like categorize. Like, how do you put like Do I Want to Know? Because that's more sexy vibe, almost R&B, you know. So I mean, I would definitely put Are You Mine above this one, and it's top tier, but not too much else. Yeah, it's hard to categorize them, I guess.
I think whenever I don't listen to Are You Mine and I listen to it and I go, yeah, that's I've still say it now. I haven't heard a better rock and roll song since it came out. I know people might go crazy. I'm not saying like heavy metal or, you know, I'm sure there are people out there that will go, no, this is better or whatever, but just straight up rock and roll and what falls into that category, I haven't heard a better rock and roll song since Are You Mine came out. Like lyrically and musically. At all. I just think it nails it.
But it's interesting because we brought this up earlier a little bit, is that I would not. So we talk about this a lot, mixing them up, and I always think that there's at least one song, especially starting with Humbug, where there's always one song where I feel like, oh, it would fit better on the next album. Where I said, oh, Cornerstone, I think would fit better on Second C. And then in my opinion, All My Own Stunts kind of, it sounds more like AM to me. It's got that kind of sexy vibe, but I would not. Evil Twin, even though it's rock, like Are You Mine is rock, it is distinctly Suckin' and C for me. I put like Suckin' and C or Evil Twin and Suckin' and C era, and it sounds like that sunny kind of California sound, and Are You Mine is that more sexy kind of sound.
Yeah, I agree. I think it doesn't sound like the rock and roll of AM, and also lyrically it's about love and rejection, perhaps, as we'll get to soon, which is very Suck It and See, whereas AM is not about being rejected at all. It is about, about the closest to rejection you get on AM is, why do you only call me when you're high? It's probably about as close as it gets to a rebuttal, but there's no rejection on that album. It's all dirty, dirty, dirty. So, so yeah, I agree with that. I think even though that, because I was pondering that today actually, whether I think it could work on AM, and I came to the same conclusion as you that it would. And I even was pondering, would it work as an AM B side? And I thought, nah, the AM B sides have a special touch as well. You're So Dark, it fits the AM, So yes, I agree. But as I said, great drum intro. Very well produced, I thought. I noticed, because this obviously wasn't James Ford, it was Ross Orton. I thought, this sounds great. Like, the drums are really sound fantastic. And the guitar as well sounds fantastic as well. I love the sound of it.
It does. It does, and actually, this one thing I really love about this guitar, the drum and guitar intro, is we kind of mentioned this in some of the other B-sides, but to me too, not only does this sound very Second and C, but this is very reminiscent of some older track style tracks. The way the guitar bounces, but where last week I was saying, oh, Little Illusion kind of sounds like it could have been around Favorite Worst Nightmare. In this case, the lick reminds me of things like a Teddy Picker or Fake Tales of San Francisco, or those kind of bouncy guitar tracks, but it sounds very much more rock driven Second and C version of that. So it's like an updated version, I think.
Yeah, very much so. It is, and it's probably one of the dirtiest they've ever gotten as well with the guitar sound. So yeah, and probably will get. I'm trying to think of. I guess Do I Want to Know is pretty dirty, isn't it, in terms of that guitar riff? So
it's got an attitude that the earlier stuff sounds punky and like it sounds more mature. It sounds like it's got more of an edge.
Yeah, a more mature version of the first album, the punky edge that they had. The kind of definitely. I think so. It's probably one of the, because you could say, I find Suck It and See to be a fun period for them and AM. To be fair, this was kind of like the fun. I remember enjoying them a lot. Then it felt very fun, and also, like as you say, it helps when you're like in your 20s as well. So it all felt very fun and full of life. So Suck It and See has also though a lot of romantic sort of lyrics in there as well, introspective lyrics. So this is probably the funnest of the era. Would you say this is the funnest track of the era?
I think
perhaps?
so. The only one that rivals it, since we're talking about the music, would be something like Brick by Brick, which I also think fits Second and C sonically, and that is kind of that more beachy rock blend, like we talked. Beach Boys has come up a couple little, but it has a brighter sound, but it does have a little bit of that edge. Whereas like some of the other tracks sound a little bit more like Humbug or something like that. But yeah, this I think this is the probably funnest rock song of this group of songs. Yeah.
I think I've said it before as well, but this track is the closest they ever get to emulating Queens of the Stone Age, but as a British band.
Yeah.
For me, this is exactly what I know I've said this before, but this is exactly what, when they announced they were doing an album with Josh Homme back in 2007, this was kind of like, I wasn't expecting exactly this. I didn't know they were in this kind of style at that point, but this was the kind of thing I was expecting us to get, like sort of fast Queens of Stone Age style Arctic Monkeys, but with Josh Homme at the helm. So sort of fast rock, make those riffs they do dirtier and like that, because it, again, this like it's very early them, it's very Favorite Worst Nightmare, whatever people say. I'm that kind of part of the guitar, that kind of, you know, Still Take You Home, you know, it's that, but it's dirtier and it's got more to it, and it's been through the Josh Homme factory, you know, and come out the other end. So this is exactly what I was expecting that whole album to be like, and then obviously it was absolutely nothing like that. But so yeah, I think this is the most Queens of the Stone Age song they've done. I think this is the most Josh Homme style song I've ever heard not done by Josh Homme.
Yeah. I think that's like a good point too, because even there's a, you know, we mentioned Potion Approaching before, the da 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 da, but even that doesn't have the edge that this I don't know, something with the drum intro, it hits hard. Yeah,
and it, you know, that's a good point. Potion Approaching sped up massively would be like this, you know, if it was like and it was a bit faster. But yeah, this is good. Yeah, the drums really do set the scene, don't they, when they come in? Fantastic bass.
Yes.
I know it's the same as the guitar riff, but it sounds great on bass, I think, as well.
Now, I think this is an important distinction of how well the guitar kind of complements and changes this, because when we get just the bass, if you stripped it down, it does have more of that sexy feel that has. So if it was just bass, then you would be like, oh yeah, I can see where they're going with this in the future. But the guitar really changes it more like that brighter kind of sound.
Well, that reminds me, if you recall, I think we mentioned it at some point, I don't know why, but there was an article with Matt that I read from around the AM time, or no, it was after, it was some kind of video thing he did not that long ago, I think. And he was saying that when they were in the midst of doing AM, Why Do You Want to Call Me When You're High, there's a version of that song which is more like Are You Mine? It's like a rock song. And they have that demo somewhere, which I am just fucking. I tell you what, I'll give you £1,000 towards the California wildfires if you give me that demo, Matt. Like,
which song was this? Is more like
Why do you only call me when you're high? He said there's a version of that they wrote initially, which was that song, but like Are You Mine? It was rock. So I was just thinking of that. What you just said reminded me, because, you know, when it goes to the bass, it is more vibey and like AM. So essentially, probably all those songs for AM were maybe initially more rocky, like this and Are You Mine, but they decided to take out the guitar and make them more hip hoppy. So I think that's probably what they did. But I tell you what, I would literally kill someone to get a hold of that. Why do you really call me when you're high? God, I'd love to hear that. Imagine. Well, I can't even imagine. I guess it would be like kind of like. I can't even imagine what that would be. It would be kind of like, damn. I can't even imagine it's the same. I don't know if it's the same riff. Is it a sped up version of that riff?
Maybe something like that.
Yeah. Although the way you're doing it sounds like a song from Wizard of Oz or something. I'm not sure what. There's like, like Charlie the Chocolate Factory, Oompa Loompas going, why do you but yeah, I'd love to hear that. But I could see now, based on what you just said, yeah, once you take the guitar out and just have the bass, if this song didn't have that guitar and they just went with the bass, it would sound exactly like a song on AM, I think, for the most part, that kind of. But it does beg the question, though, that I always like to ask, because of Nick O'Malley famously writing the Are You Mine riff. Would you imagine this was a guitar riff that he transposed to bass, or did you think he came up with the bass riff and they copied it for the guitar?
I think this could have been a bass lick first, honestly. I think it could be.
I agree. I think it's got bass riff first written all over it, because the bass works. The bass works. I know it always works well, but it works like phenomenally well. So it made too well for it just to be written off the guitar. So I'm thinking it feels like it's come from a jam, and Nick and Helders have jammed it out, and then they've added the guitar. That's how I get the sense from it.
I agree, and also the intro probably might suggest that, because it starts with the drums. I could totally see almost where even Matt could have started this song. and then what he was doing could have inspired Nick to kind of come up with this line. I could totally see that, actually.
We do know that he does have a kind of mind catalogue of drum beats that he keeps stored in his brain, like Sherlock Holmes, that he pulls out for different things. So yeah, maybe he did have the drums for a while. I should have said what came first, the O'Malley or the Turner, really, shouldn't I, for that segment? That's what that should be. Or the Cook, in a way, maybe. Oh, maybe he wrote it. Maybe Jamie wrote it first. Who knows? We never include him in that conversation. Do you think Jamie wrote this one? Nah. Poor Jamie. But drums and bass do sound phenomenal in that first verse. Again, so well produced. Russ Orton. I think, was he also one of the, did we read him as one of the producers of the Miles album that we did last week as well? I seem to remember. Or was that Seeley? That might have been, no, I think that was Chris Seeley or whatever his name is, wasn't it? Or Chris, whatever his name is. But yeah, so well produced. I love the guitar going out as well with the feedback and them stopping it with the, when they kind of do the shoot up, go up the fretboard and stop it like that. Like, it gives it a proper live feel. I always love that. They were doing a bit of that last week as well, weren't they? With Little Illusion Machine.
Yeah, they were, where you can hear it coming in and out, and the kind of intricacies of, or just like the kind of feedback a little bit, but also too, this does feel like the bass is driving it a lot, but I do love the guitar additions in the chorus, the slides, the da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Yeah.
Such a great moment for guitar. Yeah. And I imagine these times are when people don't like Tranquility Onwards and they wish Arctic Monkeys were still like that. I imagine things like this are what they're talking about, the kind of the funner rock stuff. Which I think, we could see again in like the Body Paint. I think the Body Paint solo was that, but a different version of that, it was a different version of rock. But but I always imagine Jamie holding his guitar up to do that in the, like, to stop it, he kind of lifts it up like that. Because he does that a lot on stage when he hits his pedal, where he makes a big thing of hitting his pedal and puts his finger up the guitar vertically. It got me thinking, if this was by Ross Orton, do you think they presumably did? They got Miles in, did Little Illusion Machine, did this in the studio, and got Richard Hawley in for You and I. Do you think Miles was there for the production of this one? And do you think he was like, "Oh, can I do a bit on this one?" They were like, "No, this is one of the good ones. We're not. No, this is top tier, Miles. You're not getting involved in this one." Although they let him get in one of the biggest top tiers of all time, 505. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I this is one that I definitely couldn't hear Miles's style of guitar on, even though he's a very good guitarist. He it's always more kind of psychedelic feeling, and this feels too kind of grounded, because they didn't even let him in on Little Illusion Machine, which he's singing on.
True, yeah.
So I don't think so,
No, I don't think he had any hand in it whatsoever. Thank God. Where he puts his hands is between him and the police. So the production here so the production here has made me 100% commit to purchasing the vinyl, as we discussed, because when I was listening to it in my AirPods, I thought, I need this on vinyl. I need this coming through my sort of expensive sound system and that drums and bass. I need it on a vinyl. So that is now committed to. Great guitar again that comes back in, the dirty one again. I think the lead guitar that comes in and after on the second verse is the first verse, is very Queens of the Stone Age. I think that's one of the things that makes it Queens of the Stone Age as well, is that lead, isn't it? It sounds great, and it's that kind of vibe that they do. Mm-hmm. Then it drops to just guitar, then to just drums. It drops to just guitar, and then just to drums and bass. Which I love that fact that it kind of goes in that first bit and then it drops for the second verse. It kind of has just the one guitar for a little bit and then that stops. And you get that kind of, one of my favorite moments, that like the other guitar going like, meow. It makes like a sort of, it makes a sound. I'm trying to think what the lyric is. What the other guitar just makes a sort of sound in the background. I think it's when he says,
When he says, "Oh," or no, that's
"Oh
when
yes, it's yeah." No, it is. It's she said, "Oh,
Oh,
I
okay,
know
yeah,
this
yeah,
will sound cold." There's a guitar that goes like just before you go, "She said." Yeah, I love that. I love his vocal performance on this, by the way. I think it's one of his. This was the beginning of like a very confident singing voice. I think.
yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Really. Okay.
I agree. I agree too, because when you break this down, this is not a this is a pretty simple kind of guitar lick, and we've already mentioned that the bass and guitar are kind of doing the same thing. However, what they're doing here, it makes it feel more layered, but also just, I don't know, interactive. It doesn't feel like it's just nonstop, this just rock wall that's hitting you. There's different moments to get excited about, and then the vocal performance plays into that. I think it's very well constructed sonic. Yeah.
And it doesn't do a lot of what they normally. I know it does go. It goes sort of intro, verse, chorus, verse, intro, breakdown, outro, but it does it in a different. Normally, what they do is they go intro, verse, chorus. Second verse is just drums and bass, then chorus, then outro, breakdown, then chorus. What they do in this is they kind of it's kind of similar to, like, I guess Flightline Dining Room mixed it up as well. Is they put guitars for longer on verses and bring it back in and take it out and stuff. They do it a bit differently to what we're used to. They're normally quite, not to say they're formulaic, but they're normally quite, you kind of know what their structure of a song is going to be most of the time. I'd say until AM probably, but I really it's interesting what you say there about the lick being quite simple, because it is, and it's something they've always done, which is they're quite simple licks, going back to the first album, but they just make it sound so good with the way they've put it together. And because it does remind, like, Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf, that's got those kind of, some of those songs are like that kind of same sort of finger high up on the guitar finger riffs, but because of the effects and because of the way they're playing it and the speed and what they've got on there, it just sounds huge. And I think that's what they achieve on this. Is it's probably just like down 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 down. It's not a crazy hard riff to do, but they make it sound amazing. I mean, I'd say probably Are You Mine Again is probably the most impressive of these. If we go through the iterations of the guitar riffs, Are You Mine's like an actual, like, insane guitar riff. A lot of it, he goes up and down like a lot. So, but yeah, really think they do enhance it. And again, I always like to give credit to the producer for that as well, because he was involved in the sound of it as well. I imagine he had to slow him down a bit, like, when they recorded the first album and they did it too fast. Like, if it was the way they just did it when we watched the video live, then I imagine he had to slow him down a bit. Yeah, that little one guitar sound, a few bars, and I love that. The guitar comes in and out here in this sort of "so she said" with the bass and the drums. I think it works really well the way they do that as well with that bass riff, and his vocal performance flows so well with the direction of the bass and the drums, doesn't it? It's like, it's just, they do it a lot, but I think there's always sometimes a little bit more when a song and the lyrics connect. So the song and the vocal performance connect that little bit more, and it just feels like a piece,
I think this is a thing I love about this song too, is it feels kind of like the replacement for what he did in earlier times. So if we were thinking about how he would handle this when he was a less mature songwriter, is he was doing kind of the rapping thing with his lyrics. So the vocal performance was complementing the guitar there in a different kind of way in the speed and rhythm. Whereas here he's doing it a little bit more melodically, and he's holding it out a little bit longer. He doesn't feel like he has to do it with the speed. So I love that. That's kind of like the development of that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, instead of rapid fire, it's, I suppose, but if we're going to compare it to AM as well, it's the difference between rap and hip hop. where it's still spoken word a lot of the times, but it comes out in this different way that's a bit more singy, but not quite. It's more vibey. It kind of goes with the beat more. So he's kind of gone from rapid fire rap to melodic singing in the middle, but then kind of vibey sort of hip hoppy voice. So yeah, it's and he's doing his AM vibey hip hop voice on this rock song as well, which is cool. But he's not quite at AM yet, but you know, we're getting there. I think it's one of the best works vocally. But then we go back into the sort of intro riff, but with the added lead guitar in there as well, which is really good lead guitar, good solo work. I love the change up to the strumming as well. I love it when they do that because it's doing the chorus that we're used to, all this kind of intro stuff. And then he goes, and I said, I'm gonna believe you. How can I believe you when you can't believe you? Yeah, I love the way the guitar sort of goes to strumming and changes up. And then it builds to Helders goes nuts for a minute in that bit as well. He's doing some drum rolls. He's going crazy. He's off the he's off the chain. And I think it goes a little bit old school Monkeys as well in that bit before the breakdown, because it does that kind of that kind of up and down thing that they do. Then the stop, that's very first album, second album. That is back to that. I mean, you could say that this sound is more the natural progression from those two albums than what we actually got in between. It's like they found their way there, but they went the scenic route via America.
That's how I feel. Yeah, I really do feel that way, that this is the most kind of reminiscent, but obviously evolved version of what they used to be.
Yeah, and it sort of also is on the journey to my opinion that we'll do next series. The AM is the sum of all the parts.
The pinnacle, yeah.
It's everything from Beneath the Boardwalk to Evil Twin. It's the culmination of that, which is why it's the apex, and that's why after that they had to jump on a different mountain, you know. So I wouldn't bizarre metaphors tonight, but I will talk about that at length in AM, I'm sure. But then we get the breakdown. I mean, we actually can only describe it as an incredible bass solo, I suppose, for a moment here, don't we?
But it's got a clappy kind of feel to it. So I put it.
Oh, it's pure clap, isn't it? Yeah.
Anthem rock. It feels like a designed type, but not cheesy. It doesn't feel. It feels. I don't know, constructed in a particular way. Like this is where we want it to go.
It's why it's a shame it didn't last longer, because it is a great crowd gearing up moment for a festival, really, isn't it? Just to get people back into because everyone's going. Yeah. I remember being annoyed when I saw them and they played this in Manchester because people didn't know the B-side. Not everyone knew them, and no one around me knew it. And I was singing my heart out, and I was like, "Fuck you all! I'm a true fan," you know. So I don't think we got a clap moment, unfortunately. Great build up. The drums back up that, obviously, that clap moment with what they're doing as well. Sensational build up drums. What a moment. I can also imagine Helders with a beer at this point live, you know, when he's doing that kind of when he's
That's
having a sip of
true.
the beer, like he likes to do. Yeah, classic Helder's beer moment. Although I don't think he did it on that video, but he was too busy chewing whatever it was we were trying to figure out.
Yeah.
He was chewing. Great, probably some acid or some of these rock stars.
Well, and I think they were focused on Nick at that point too. Like that's when I
Yeah,
noticed he
yeah.
was in control of the speed. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, lads, this is crazy. Let's bring this back down to earth. I know your girlfriend's at the side of the stage, Alex, but come on, this is nuts. So yeah, great stop here. One of the classic stops again, like you say. That, and then back in with the main riff, but with a great solo. What a solo! Was it?
Great.
Did you notice whether it was Alex or it was Alex, wasn't it, that was doing the
It was
solo?
Alex, yeah, because
Yeah,
he
yeah.
also does the chorus stuff too, the da-na-na-na-na-na, the slides. So yeah.
Have you ever noticed that Jamie does the melodic solos, but Alex tends to do the rock solos?
Mm-hmm.
That's something I've been noting as we go along. Like Jamie tends to do the more melodic-y type solos, but when it's a fast rock one, like Alex does Arabella, Alex does the little bit in Are You Mine? You know, he tends to do those kind of ones. Maybe it's more his forte. Because it's not like they do.
Too, because I think about something like the Cornerstone solo, the ba-na-na-na-na, you know, I mean, it's
yeah.
lower, maybe a little easier to handle.
Oh, don't do him down like that. I was going to say maybe he just writes phenomenal melodic solos because they're all great, and then you get, maybe he's not good enough. But I think so. I think he probably right because he wrote the lead for the First Adolescent. He probably changed up Pile Driver Waltz in that sense. So yeah, I think he's got a bit more of a melodic lead guitar in him than fast, but. But it's definitely interesting because they're definitely not a band that designate spots. Like it's not like one's rhythm, one's lead. It's very much just whatever comes out. Yeah. Which probably I always think lends itself to the fact that they learned together. Like neither of them could play and they learned together. So you're not going to go, well, I do lead and I do rhythm. You're just going to play whatever the one of you writes, I suppose, in that sense. So, so then some incredible drumming throughout the outro. He really is giving it everything he's got. Absolutely love it. And then I put here one of the most rock they've ever been, but we've already preemptively had that discussion. And this, great outro build up with the sudden stop. I love the end as well. I love a sudden stop like that. No messing about. I think this is them bringing back, because I do think Suck It and See brought the fun as an album a whole with songs like Brick by Brick, but also, some of the, even on the more melodic ones, some of the imagery is quite comical, but also like youthful. I think Suck It and See as an era brought back the fun that we lost in Humbug. Even though I like Humbug, it's very much more broody, let's say. It's like the sort of teenage years, but it's like this brings back to the fun. I think some of Favourite Worst Nightmare is quite broody as well because they were dealing with the difficulty of being thrown into fame. So you could say it's all the way back to the first album that it's got its fun. And
that's the tough aspect of it, is because even Favorite Worst Nightmare itself is split between those aspects. The first half is got that more punk kind of feel, where it's a Balaclava, D is for Dangerous, Teddy Picker. Those are Rest of Adolescent are more kind of bouncy and fun feeling, and then you have the moodier stuff of If You Were There, Beware, and Old Yellow Bricks is moody, and Do Me a Favor is moody. So it's like, oh, where are they gonna go? Split it, and they took it to Humbug. But yeah, it would be interesting if Suck It and See style came out first and then they did Humbug. There would be a different perception, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like that would be impossible in terms of the progression, but in a hype like that would be an interesting. I think people would have gone with it more as a third album than they
Yeah,
did Humbug, certainly. But
probably.
in that sense, in that sort of sense of the capturing the fun aspect, they very much follow the musical formula that people talk about with bands that have huge debut albums. There's a sort of, if you trail bands that have these huge big albums, they all they all follow the exact same formula. It's quite interesting. So they have this huge hit first album that just takes them into stardom,
Yeah.
and then which was obviously more here in the UK. But they then do a second album which is like similar to it, but with some kind of upward trajectory on that style. And then they do a third album which is experimental that people are a bit like, ooh, don't know how to take it. And then they do a fourth album which is back to the roots of the first album. So although they didn't really go back to the roots of the first album in its truest form, you could say that in the sense that they were back to being a bit more comical and joking about, you could say they did then go back to the roots after Humbug.
Yeah.
But then they break the mold completely because I don't think any band that follows that formula then has their biggest album as the fifth album. Like that's
Number five,
nuts.
yeah, yeah.
Nobody does that. Nobody goes, "Oh, this is huge."
Well, I guess it might be a different formula, but I know you talked about it before. But Red Hot Chili Peppers they had like 3 or 4 albums before like Californication came out. So I mean they have a weird journey too, but it's very, very rare for sure.
Yeah, but what's even rarer about Arctic Monkeys is that their first album was huge, and then
That
the
should
fifth
be-
album was
yeah,
huge. So they didn't just find the way there; they were there, and then they kind of went on a journey, and then they were even more big, which is crazy. I suppose internationally, though, AM was the huge international album, but you know, the first album was the fastest selling debut album of all time in the UK when it came out.
Yeah.
So, and I remember that excitement so much. We'll probably do another recap next year when it gets to
20
30
years.
years. Sorry, 30 years. But how old do you think I am?
Whoa,
20
whoa,
years.
yeah.
Jesus, yeah. Not yet. Not yet.
Maybe we'll get that
Uh,
James Ford version released, and then they'll say, you know what, here's this quick version. Listen to us not even being able to keep time back then.
Yeah. This is my dream that I'm gonna make a film about Arctic Monkeys one day. That's gonna get me. I'm gonna purely do that to get the access to everything that I want to get access to. Yeah. And I'll send it.
Man, all right, me and you, let's team up.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
do those songs.
We'll get everything. I need everything to make the film work. But I've got a plan for that as well that will appeal to Alex. So stay tuned. So yes, I suppose that's kind of the music there. For me, have you got anything else to say on the music before we get on?
That's pretty much everything.
Let's do the covers band. I've got a really predictable, boring one that was the only thing I could think of. So hopefully you've maybe got a better one. But here we go.
I'm gonna form a covers band and all.
I feel bad even saying it, but I can't get past the fact that I'd love to hear Queens of the Stone Age doing this song. I just would. I just really want to hear them doing it. I think it'd be great.
I have 4 potential ones that are all a little different. And it's interesting because for the voice, I think it could go a lot lower or a lot higher, actually. So for the higher versions, I'm thinking one was Jack White, especially the chorus.
Oh, yeah.
Jack
Yeah,
White's,
I can see that,
the
yeah.
chorus. And
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
same
yeah.
kind of vein, but with a different kind of style, maybe more. So he has more of that kind of like rock blues style, maybe, but
Yeah.
in the more kind of punk style, maybe Yes. I could imagine her
Ooh,
kind
okay.
of doing that
Interesting.
shouty version of the chorus. I think that would be
Not
kind of
what
cool.
I need. Yeah. Yeah.
The Strokes in kind of like a Reptilia style version of this, with similar kind of lick. I think that could be
I'm
interesting.
trying to imagine it in his voice to sort of.
That's the lower
you-
version.
Yeah, you've never met. Well, his voice is. I'm trying to think of his
You
voice.
do
He's kind
good
of like,
on the
oh,
verses.
wow.
Yeah,
You've never met before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we go full circle, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and then maybe even the Black Keys could do.
Why didn't I think of that? They're my third favorite band of all time. And they could toured with the Black Keys around this time as well, so it makes sense. Yeah, I can see the Black Keys doing this as well. Actually, that'd be a good one. I think this is one. I think the reason this got 126 plays is because that Black Keys tour they did, they basically threw all the fast songs into a lot of it because they were opening for the Black Keys. So I think this is where a lot of that came from as well. Which, God, I would have loved to. I mean, that is literally my dream gig that I never got to go to because it was US only. Is Arctic Monkeys opening for the Black Keys? It's nuts. It's like the best night of my life. The only way that could get better is if they reincarnate sort of David Bowie and have him perform on the stage, as well. So AI. Oh no, AI Bowie. That is a weird. AI Bowie is a weird concept considering what a lot of his musical lyrics were back in the day. Sort of like weird full circle, but yeah, I think you know what as well. I was thinking today about Eagles of Death Metal doing this because I think I said them Friday ST as well because they kind of do these fun quintessential style songs but silly lyrics. Which got me thinking actually because Eagles of Death Metal opened for Arctic Monkeys in the UK on this tour. I saw them before Arctic Monkeys and it was funny because no one else really. There was very few people there for their part, but it was great because I love Cherry Cola, doon, 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 and the couple of others. They also do an astounding cover of Stuck in the Middle with You called Stuck in the Metal with You, which is a great version of. It's my favorite version of Stuck in the Middle with You. It's sensational. So, yeah, I could see them doing this as well because they have that kind of. Josh Homme's in Eagles of Death Metal though, he was in some of it. So, that's one of his desert rock bands. Okay, so lyrically, I'm going to say what I think it's about initially before we get into line by line.
Okay.
And we'll see if we agree. Okay. I think it's about a girl that you really like, but she's got her doubts. She's saying no, thank you, but you really want her. And I think there's a few, from my research, there's a few what I would say misinterpretations of the narrative perspective of the song at times from what I've read people saying, but yeah, that's what I think. And I would say then in that sense that if that's what it's about, then I would say that the evil twin is two ways I think of it is it's either she's two people, so she's this someone that is kind of into you, but then she's also like no. So she's got an evil twin. But I don't really like that because I don't think at any point of the song she does really sound into him, to be honest. So my theory would be that she's his evil twin. He's kind of met his match. Perhaps her indifference is how he normally is, but he's fell head over heels for her and she's indifferent. Like when you get I have tasted my own medicine, as you may have, which I have a few times as well. So yeah, so that's my ideas.
Yeah, I really there, and especially there's a line here. I'm like scrolling to get to my lyrics notes, but it's kind of feels like this message. I like it because it's almost the evil twin to some of the songs that we get on Suck It and See, where like a reckless, or She's Thunderstorms, where it's an alternate version of that, where it's kind of like. Don't be so desperate. Don't be so head over heels because the more obvious you are, the more you lose. Kind of like the more you pursue it, the more you lose. So I kind of like that alternate version to like Reckless Serenade or She's Thunderstorms.
Yeah, and I think I think there's a part in the lyrics where I actually touched on that. I can't remember what the line is, but we'll get there. But that like it's that thing I've noticed. You notice that with women. They don't really like it when you're too into them.
You put them on a pedestal. Yeah. The guys that do well are the different guys, aren't they? That play it cool across the room. You know what I mean? So yeah. Not just to stereotype all women, but there's a trend there. We do it as well in different ways, I suppose. Which actually isn't that we do it, but in different ways. Isn't that an Alex lyric from Bigger Boys and Stolen Sweethearts? Pretty much there. By accident, I think he says they still carry it on in similar ways. Ooh, I suppose not. Not quite. I guess I don't think that's earned me a jingle there. But yeah, I think that's pretty much. I like the idea of it being the evil twin side of Suck It and See though, because I suppose it is the inverse
of it in many ways. Yeah, that's a good catch. So yeah, well, let's go line by line and dig into that even more then. So also Evil Twin horror. You're the horror aficionado. Do you think there's any link to horror at all, other than just
Actually,
the concept of an evil
really.
twin?
Yeah, actually, not really. It's just the kind of just a thought of it, I guess. But no, I don't think there's anything underlying here.
Yeah, I will say if it is, there's a spiritual but lyrical connection in that essence to what I think the Born Identity by Last Shadow Puppets is about. In that it's about an evil twin, perhaps of two sides of you. So, but that's for subscribers ears only. But I'm just saying that this kind of links lyrically to it. I think that I'll talk about when we do that. But yeah, get out your checkbooks if you want to do that. Checkbooks, yeah. Get out your Venmo. We don't even have Venmo in the UK. So the first line is, "You've never met before, but still she greets you like a long lost rock and roll." Okay, so I'm a bit confused by this one. So I'll give you my 2 and see what you think. So does that mean you've never met, but she treats you as if she's met you before because you're famous in a rock and roll band that she likes? Quite literal from his point of view, or is it more, and I lean more towards something like that it's not specifically him in a rock and roll band, but how you might treat a song that you've never heard but feels like, have you ever listened to a song and thought, I've never heard this, but it feels like I've heard it before, like I connect with it? The phrasing of it is weird. It confuses me.
I lean more to the second one, where it's more like she treats you as a type. Like, oh, I know your type, or I know.
Yeah. Yeah, like she's met you before a million times, that kind of guy. But it's a bit weird because the phrasing is off. Like she greets you like a long lost rock and roll. Like rock and roll isn't a thing, is it? So it's a weird phrasing. Like if he said she greets you like you're, I don't know. Yeah, the phrasing throws me off on what it could actually mean. But I think you're quite right that it's probably that she treats him like I've met you a million times before. Yeah, in that kind of way, in the same way that you hear a song, and that could be a metaphor using when you hear a rock and roll song that you haven't heard for a long time. It's long lost, and you hear it and you go, oh, or when you. I mean, there's a million rock songs that I've heard that remind me of other rock songs. So it could be a metaphor like that, where I go, this sounds like a rock song I've heard before. So that's what she's doing, but with him as a dude.
Now, what do you think that greeting, like when he says she greets you like that, do you think it's a positive or a negative greeting then?
You see, the first one that I suggested would imply it was positive, but the rest of the song isn't positive. So I would assume, unless she's playing a game, she's greeting him positively, but it's like she likes the greeting is positive and nice, but then she says, yeah, but I've met a guys like you a million times before. Like, polite at first, but then it changes.
Well, see, that's where I kind of think it's actually negative still going with that idea, because, if when we review some songs, like when we did like Cage the Elephant, we're like, this kind of sounds like some old 90s stuff or whatever, where when you kind of say that, it also, it kind of makes you think that
Negative.
they're not original. Yeah,
Yes.
they're not the authentic one. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? That is also one of the reasons why I love Arctic Monkeys, is because it's very rare that they remind me of something I've heard before. That barely ever happens, and you get so disappointed when bands do that. And actually, The Car was the first time where a couple of songs did remind me of something else, and maybe that is also why, because I do love that about them, that it's, I'm not saying they're completely original, but it does sound quite original a lot of the time. I never go, oh, that's like that. But you're right, it tars it with a negative brush when you think that, doesn't it? Because, and to be fair, it's not fair, because all music is ripping off, it's like nothing's original anymore. Yeah. We've had like, I don't know, nearly 100 years of popular culture now in terms of entertainment and things. So nothing's got to be original, and I dare. So I think my film idea I told you the other week's quite original, but anyway, although, what it's built around isn't, we've seen stuff like that before in a way, so thrillers and stuff. So nothing is original, so it isn't an unfair negative connotation, but you do get that. It does, like when we were doing the Cage the Elephant, and I heard that, I thought, Yeah, they're just ripping it off, or it's a fine line between ripping off and influence, and even knowing that you influence it, And I mean, they straight up do use War Pigs by Black Sabbath in the next album, so we're saying it doesn't remind us of anything. But to be fair, they sampled it, so. But yeah, I think the phrasing's weird, but I think we kind of get the sentiment there, don't we? And but I do think it's negative because the whole song's negative. She's never at any point like. Actually, there's no turnaround where she's
weighing her. Yeah.
No, and evil twin is negative as a term. So, also should point out it's a song title where the song title doesn't get said in the song, which I always like. Yeah. I was a fan of that. Yeah. Imagine if it was. Imagine if the chorus was like, "She's an evil twin."
Imagine if it was like Inhaler, like evil twin.
Oh God! I think Miles into it, didn't you?
Just to bring Miles into it one more time.
Oh no! Oh, thank God we got Richard Hawley next week. There'll be no Miles. In fact, I don't think Miles comes. Does Miles come up ever again?
He might be gone.
Just the subscriber stuff then. Yeah, there'll be something that comes up during like that he was, I don't know, hovering around with his pants off while they recorded like knee socks or something. You know what I mean? He was the one in the knee socks, walking around the apartment. I don't know, grabbing him by the scuff of his knee socks. So next line is, she's definitely one of those, but you'll go wherever she goes. By the way, I haven't had one of my favorite lyrics yet. I will pinpoint them as we go. That isn't one of them. Although it's a very good lyric though. I do like it. It's a classic way to describe women. Really, Alex classic. She's definitely one of those, but you'll go wherever she goes is a very Alex line, I think. See Arabella soon.
It makes me think of those old cartoons where, like the little skunk that he's always chasing after the women, and he just kind of floats toward their perfume or whatever. That's what it makes me think of. Yeah.
Pepe Le Pew, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, definitely. But it does. I always say when he's talking about chasing women in his lyrics, he definitely puts an image in your mind. That's it. That's his biggest skill. And as I say, see the upcoming Arabella episode for more of that. If you haven't had enough already. So the next chunk here, and when my body and my mind both start talking at the exact same time, trying to think of ways to make her mine, but they're difficult to find. I fucking love that line. Like, it's not one of my favorites, by the way, but like my favorites come in a sort of run near each other. But you're so excited, animated by the idea of her, and tranced by her, that you need a way to make her yours, but you're finding it difficult because she's so amazing. But it's the line body and mind both start talking at the exact same time, which is great there, because it's that, when you're really into someone and you can't help but show it in every way, whether it's your face, the way you're talking, or your hands,
Yeah, and this again, we've said it many times tonight, but going to the lyrical aspect of it, it even reminds me of You Probably Couldn't See for the Lights type of stuff. Back up to their brains to form expressions on their stupid faces, where a lot of the lyrics on Suck It and See and Humbug, he becomes a little bit more obscure, where to kind of dissect these things. But this song is more like, you look at the lines and you kind of know he's not hiding his intention, but they're just kind of clever things, so you think, oh yeah, that's a clever way to put it.
Well, I would say you've touched on two things there. One, that lyrically there is a lot of rejection in the first album, so lyrically it's akin to that. And the first album isn't success with women by any means. It's being drunk out on a night out and failing to pull a lot of the time, which we all relate to. And then the other thing you touched on there is, which I think is perfect, is the way that you say it's straightforward, but he's saying it in a clever way. And I think that sums up a lot of AM as well. Like AM is very much straightforward in terms of what he's talking about. There's no, when we're not going to be very much decrypting AM as much as we're going to be going, the way that he said that was the impressive thing. And I think that's what he's doing here. Yeah. So I think this is probably
a lot of the popularity of the two albums people gave to him, not, they weren't praising him for the kind of obscure stuff that he does later as it's more poetry, but in the just like everyone can relate to that. Oh, we've all had that kind of experience. I completely understand it. Yeah.
Well, that brings me back to my theory of AM being some of all its parts and being closely linked to the first album, in my opinion. Because again, like lyrically, that like, you're quite right at the time. What everyone was talking about when the first album came out was what a genius songwriter it was, and it wasn't for poetry. It was for he explains your life that you're living in a clever way and witty way and funny way. And then in AM, he did the exact same thing, but it's a decade later, and you're no longer trailing the streets as a student trying to pull women in dingy bars. You're now in bars trying to just have late night sex in a leather jacket. You know what I mean? And that's again why it kind of worked if you're the same age as them or similar age to them, because you also go through that difference from dingy clubs to pulling women in late night bars. So it is it's very interesting, I think, that how closely linked the first album and AM is, and this is kind of sitting in the middle there as a precursor to that. Okay, so here's my first thing that I think people have gotten wrong. So he says here, it's not what I need. No, your love's not what I need, so don't give it to me. Now, what I saw out there after I did my own notes was that people are saying that this song is about him flip-flopping on whether he wants her. Now, I refute that by saying he clearly says in the next line after this, she said, and then he says the same thing within that paragraph. So from my point of view, it's not what I need. No, your love's not what I need, so don't give it to me, is her what she's saying to him.
I completely that's how I've always taken it,
Yeah, it's odd that they've got the POV wrong there, because he doesn't say she said, but he says she said the next bit, and although he throws in a couple of other lines, he says the same thing again there. So it's quite clear, really. I don't really understand how you could get mixed up, but I do another podcast about bad lyrics where people get mixed up as well. So people never surprise me. So to carry that on, he says, she said, "Oh well, I know this will sound cold." This is a great performance, by the way, vocally as well. This but I really have to go. Oh, it's not that okay, so this made me laugh a lot. Oh, it's not that I'm not free. There's nowhere I need to be. It's just your love's not what I need. So don't give it to me. That is a fantastic quote. Like, there's a cold line. Like, she's not only rebutting your advances, but she's being quite blunt about it. And she's like, I've got to go. But it's not because I have to be anywhere. It's just because I don't want to be fucking anywhere near you. I don't want you. Yeah. That is cold, isn't it? I find that to be a genius quote for someone to say to you when turning you down. It's brutal.
It's a very clever line, because as we said, like, these lyrics aren't too deep and there's not actually too many of them, but in these kind of ways, he's painting a picture of who these characters are. It's a character development, so I mean, you have a good, clear picture of who this woman is, just because she's the kind of person who's not going to let you down gently or like lead you along. She's straight up telling you, I'm not interested in you in any way.
Yeah, and as well, I think, to go back to the whole fun thing that we've kind of been lacing throughout this episode, when I used to hear the first album and the second album in a lot of places, there'd be lyrics and I'd laugh out loud. And it's very rare that songs make me laugh. If songs don't make me laugh, lyrics don't make me laugh. They make, unless I'm laughing at them, but the lyrics don't make me laugh like in a satirical, witty way. That's just not something that you get very often. And then with Humbug, not so much. I don't think any of them really made me laugh, apart from maybe What Came First, the Chicken or the Dickhead. That made me laugh. But they don't really make me laugh. But then Suck It and See, there's a lot of lyrics in it that make me laugh, and that paragraph there makes me laugh. Just the bluntness of it is just a funny line. But in the performance of the song, not necessarily, even, because the way he's performing it, it's a bit more straightforward. But when you read that written down, that it's very and maybe it's an English thing as well, in that kind of blunt, brutal stuff is so harsh that it's not really something that we would even do because we're overly polite. But that just kind of like, it's not that I'm not free. It'd be like in a comedy, like somebody turning someone down and going like, and them going, oh, so you've got to be somewhere, and they're like, oh no, just to make it clear, it's not that I've got to be anywhere, I just don't like you. It's fucking cold as fuck and hilarious. So yeah, I think that being laughing at his lyrics, and it's not that there's many of them in AM particularly that make me laugh really at all, really. It's just sexy, isn't it? But apart from I Want to Be Yours makes me laugh, but that's not, that's John Cooper Clarke. So
Yeah, that does again goes back to the tone of the first album. A lot of them are, yeah, clever and like you smile, you're kind of,
Yeah. And you
laugh a
don't
little
get
bit,
that.
chuckle at it. Oh yeah, that's quite clever. Yeah,
And I can't think of many other artists' songs that I'm not saying no one does it. Obviously, people do, but I can't remember many songs that make me chuckle at the lyrics.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's clever. That's clever. But yeah, I love it. But it's still not one of my top 3 favorite lyrics that are going to get into into there. So the next part is, it's not what I need. No, your love's not what I need. So don't give it to me. Obviously, I'm just reiterating that that's her quote there again. So kind of reaffirms that point that it is her saying it. And then she said, baby, how can I believe you? How can I believe you when you can't believe your luck? No point sticking to the plan when it's come unstuck. I can't say that. It's one of those lyrics again that I can't say without singing it. Like,
Without
no
the
point
rhythm,
sticking to
yeah.
the plan when it's come unstuck. This is number 1 of 3 all-timer Alex lyrics for me. The line, not the last line, but the line, baby, how can I believe you when you can't believe your luck, I think is a phenomenal line. Like, she's saying, how can I believe you're worth being with if you can't even believe your luck for having a chance with me? And it's so true when you think about it. How could you be with someone that's so in awe of you that they got you? Yeah, I think that's where needy relationships come from, isn't it? Someone being so in awe that they even got you. The other person's like, how could I be with you when you don't even think that you're worthy of being with me? Like, it's so fantastic and true. And I think, yeah. And as we said before, men being overly keen and grateful almost, which is a bit, can be very off-putting to women, and men, men famously like rebut needy women as well. So I think we just don't like people that are too into us, do we? It's weird, especially as a British person. When someone I'm very self-deprecating. So if someone really likes me, I'm a bit like, okay.
Yeah, you don't trust them.
Yeah. No, what's wrong with you?
What happens? Yeah, like you kind of like don't trust like when you don't treat somebody like a human, or like a person, because we all believe people are flawed. So it's it doesn't fit.
And I'm not, I'm not saying being in like, use personal example, but anyone's personal example of being with someone, being in a relationship. Like my girlfriend, she was obviously really into me, and I was really into her, but it was on a level that was, there's a suitable level to that, isn't there?
Mutual
where you
respect,
mutual respect. Yeah, it's not like one person just being in complete awe,
Yeah.
So there is a weird balance to that. But yeah, that line, I just think it's so astute. So that's one of my favorites. It's up there with my astute lines of Alex's that come up in tracks to come as well, and the tracks on Suck It and See that I've already talked about that I love. So yeah, all timer for me. I'm not saying top 5 or top 10 or anything. I'm just saying it might sneak in there in the top 20, which, to be fair, I say that now, but it's the lyric list is just as tough as the song list. It's insane, and that's why we love him. So yeah. The next line is, it's more a hunger than a thirst. She'll break your heart the second time before you know about the first. That is my number 2 all time of the song. Like, it's such a unbelievably good line. Like, it's one of those lines on this album and what's to come that doesn't surprise you when you hear someone like Bob Dylan saying that Alex is one of the current best songwriters, lyric writers. It's just like the idea just that she'll break your heart the second time before you know it the first is just like she's that desirable. She's that she's gonna, and I think that goes into a lot of what AM does, as well. That kind of, especially Arabella. I think this song is quite close to Arabella in terms of that kind of thing. This pedestal,
This line in particular is, again, we say it again and again, but this, from an American point of view, the topic or the line that he delivers, the way he delivers it, is reminiscent of a type of country idea, but he's doing it in a style that's kind of like old Alex, where now he's like picking up the pace. He's almost doing like a little rap here. But the idea of, heartbreak and rejection is a very common theme from a country style standpoint. So that she'll break your heart the second time before you know about the first just feels very country to me style. So I think again, we're seeing him combine his elements here.
Yeah, and I think ever since he wrote Cornerstone, and obviously Suck It and See ones we've done, which obviously actually worked as a country singer doing them very well. And this, yeah, I think he's very much showing his country influences on there. And I think I think a song like Number One Party Anthem, you could maybe say there's a bit of that in there as well, yeah. But you're probably the closest to a love song over a sex song. Oh, no, it's not actually. He specifically says in that song, it's not that I'm falling in love, it's that I want you to do me no good. So no, it's still sexy times. Which, by the way, that is a lyric, but we'll pause that. But yeah, this is, it's just a great line. It reminds me of a similar thing that he did with the Shadow Puppets about a guy that was a heartbreaker, where he said, he broke 2 hearts in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That concept that somebody is so proficient at and also Love Is a Laser Quest, that idea, are you still breaking hearts? So yeah, that kind of idea. But this one is much more like cooler. I think this is AM cool version of that. It's and the way he performs it as well, she'll break your heart a second time before you know about the first. It's quite fast delivery. It's like a sort of sudden machine gun of it. Also just as a concept,
It reminds me a little bit, even though I say it reminds me of country, it also kind of reminds me of Settle for the Draw a little bit, where he's using that kind of like insight into women, kind of. I don't know. Yeah, because it's almost like he stepped out now. He's kind of talking in a different, he's not necessarily the woman chasing her at this point. He's like from a perspective type of point of view, I think, right here.
I think his biggest gift as a songwriter is his ability to nail in a way that you feel concepts of love, heartbreak, wanting, and relationships. He did that in Mardy Bum back in the early days. And like you say, Too Much to Ask is also a song that I think is a brilliant. Settle for a Draw, Too Much to Ask. These are just insightful sort of relationship stuff, and then all the way up to like Sweet Dreams TN, as this kind of way nails that concept of falling in love as well. So I think that's his biggest gift as a songwriter, is being able to, when he wants to write straightforward and not be a bit more obtuse, like he can just nail, like you can just say a line that just cuts right through you. I think it makes you go like, fuck, I've never thought about it that way, but that's exactly how it is. I always refer to the Sweet Dreams TN thing of when me and my girlfriend first got together, and that was our song, and I remember the line that I'd never got before that, which was, it's like everyone's a dick without you, baby. I remember being out with some sort of work people, and for the first time after we'd met, and I was kind of texting her, and I felt that line. I was like, oh yeah, everyone is a bit of a dick. I'd rather just be with her. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, Alex, you've done it again, you bastard. You've done it again. You've cut right through me. Which is why he's the greatest songwriter of the 21st century, but nobody's interested in that theory about it. So there we go. So apart from you people listening, I assume. But yeah, great line. It's a concept, break your heart second time before you know about the first. It's just, it means so little, but means so much as well. It's quite impressive, really. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if you were to actually try and like lay that out, it makes not much sense, but it does make every sense as well, which is also impressive. Yeah. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. The last Artimonkeys song that Artimonkeys will ever write, it's all coming together.
Lyrical alarm.
Yes, you get the lyrical alarm. Oh, I don't have it in here, I don't think. I need to add all the jingles to this. I forgot about the lyric alarm. That should be in here, really. That's unusual. I don't know when we added these. I mean, I set this up when we did the Christmas episode, so I don't even know if we had a lyrical like that. But what I'll give you instead, I'll give you a car alarm and a sneak peek at a new one that we've got for the Lost Shadow Puppets and the car, seeing as though it was a car song that you referenced.
But now the orchestra's got us all surrounded.
Oh,
there you go. I mean, it's not new for you because we did it on Dracula 2, but new for everyone else.
Oh, that's true,
apart from the subscribers, you'd forgot, so I didn't have to say that. Okay, so the next line is, looks well equipped to leave you in the lurch, but you'd let her do her worst. Mm-hmm. That's nice. Yeah. That is akin to the line we just referenced in Number One Party Anthem, actually, isn't it? It's not that I'm falling in love, it's what I want you to do me no good, And
it's
again, such a way of saying do your worst.
It's another way for him to say the line of, or a concept of, "You'll go wherever she goes."
Yeah.
Kind of that kind of same concept.
I love it when he does, because he's done it a few times in both bands, that the idea that, even if you know it's going to end with heartbreak, you still just want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's worth it almost. It's worth it's worth the way you're going to get treated, just because. And I think we've all felt that at some point, where you're like, this isn't going to end well, but I'm certainly going to do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But the next section is a great one. And the last section, apart from something else to mention, is, and it's not hard to tell, it's obvious the other angels' faces fell when she told them that she had to go swap her wings and overcoat for something colourful. This is my number 3 greatest lyric in this song, I think. I mean, that vivid imagery that she's amazing enough to have been an angel, but she decided she wanted something more. And she's so amazing that must have even hurt the other angels when she decided to leave. It's such and to also say swapping wings for an overcoat for something swapping wings and overcoat for something colourful, like she wanted more, is just, I can't think of anyone else that would word a lyric like that. It's just great.
That's the one line that kind of does hint to the idea that she is the evil twin, like the alternate version, because he references her as an angel versus like what she kind of really is. Like, you putting this person on a pedestal and not really being able to see her for who she is. So it's kind of like that evil twin aspect. I think this is the one line that hits at that. Yeah.
And what would the evil twin of an angel be?
The devil. Or
yes, a demon. Yeah, so there you go, another layer to it, perhaps. Yeah, she is a bit of a demon by the sounds of it. A demon in the sack, I imagine. No, we're not gonna don't get caught. Save that for AM. So yeah, I think that's just another great one of his classic, and the part of the song that it's in as well, with the way he does it, the kind of I love the way he sings it along with those bass and drums. It's obvious the other angels' faces fell when she told them that she had to go. I love that. Swap her wings and overcoat. He kind of speeds up a bit and then goes slow again. I don't know how he does it. It's impressive. But I think that's what I think the way he sings these songs is what caused his voice to change in interviews. Like, it's almost like he started talking like that, where he does this different layered way of speaking that he didn't do before. But I'm more on the characters of Alex, because I never know whether my theory on Alex's characters begins. I don't think it begins until AM, actually, him shedding personas each album. Because although on Humbug he goes stoner, and then on Suck It and See he's got the kind of American look halfway through it, the kind of rockabilly look, I don't think it's necessarily a big character. I think he was just going for a mood, whereas I think the AM to Tranquility to the Car is like a character. The Tranquility character being the most...
Well, and even Last Shadow
character of all that. Gimme more. What's that top say that he wears at that gig? Gimme more, whatever. That whole tour, Alex, is another level of Alex. But yeah, so that's kind of it all. Except there is a mistake out there for this one that I was kind of worried me, is that the written down internet accepted line for this is controversially bad news. And when I saw bad news, I thought, why did they say bad news in song? Because it's before the last, so I'm not going to say the rest because it's just repeating what we've already done with the chorus. But before that, I was like, when did they say bad news? So I listened to it and I realized that they've mistaken "tha knows" for bad news. No. So when Helders does the "tha knows," they think they go bad news. Which, to be fair, if you weren't British or Northern and know what "tha knows" is, easy mistake to make. But the fact that it's quite accepted on the internet surprised me.
That is weird, especially because as it's come up, and already Blondo Sonic, it was in there, and I guess that's the only other place it's been. But that came out before Evil Twins, so I mean, yeah, I never thought that it said bad news.
Yeah, and it's we obviously explained what that meant on that episode. I assume what do you think you thought when you first heard it? You obviously didn't know what "tha knows" was at that point, but
I didn't, but I remember following them at the time, and I remember people like bringing that up. So I knew like what it was from the beginning, and it even kind of makes sense. Like, oh, swapped her. It's just kind of like you know this girl, you know what she's about, you know the situation.
Yeah, and yeah, and obviously it's a great. One of my favorite ways is to also put that in as a sort of rock BV is great as well. Danos.
Yeah.
Second kind of only to one other of my favorite BVs that I've already told you privately about coming up, but it is a criticism though. And it is something I want to point out, which is that we're entering the phase where people started in England, 100% only in England, saying that they'd gone all American, which is something that we hate. People hate here. They hate that. It happened to David Beckham. Like, oh, he's gone American. People hate someone going American, whereas I'm very much, I love your country. Well, maybe not in every way recently, but I love American culture more than I love British culture, let's say. So I always thought it was cool, but there was a lot of people complaining that they got American, and what this song led me to do today was I kind of listened to it, doing my notes, and I got really into the rock stuff. So I thought, I'm going to be working out in a bit, so I put a playlist together of AM and Suck It and See, like fast ones, and then a couple of I always do it as like a gig I'd want to hear because I'm a loser. So I put it as I was kind of doing it, and I was thinking like when I was listening to it, got me so excited for the AM era because I haven't been. We've said before that it's not our favorite era, and it annoys that a lot of people that jumped on think it is. But when I was listening to some of them today, I was like, this is stronger than my snooty past self has given it credit for. Like this has got the potential to change the whole game when we cover it. For me, I think I was listening to it and going, I forgot how much I love. Yeah, sorry, AM. Yeah, I forgot how much I loved it when it came out, and re-listened to it after not listening to it for a period of time reminded me that I can be a bit snooty about it because a lot of people hated Tranquility but loved AM. So when you get defensive of Tranquility, you go, so it's a natural thing to do. But when I was listening to it, I was like, this could throw some. This is gonna throw something there. Yeah, this is gonna mix things up a bit in terms of favorites and stuff, and I'm really excited in doing it now. And this song kind of set me in that mood. I feel like I've now departed from Suck It and See. Yeah, I'm ready for the next series. But one thing I did notice on lyrics as well on AM, and I'm going to bring it up a lot on AM, is to counteract that British, they've gone all American concept. It's ridiculous to say that just because they were in LA and it's got kind of some kind of West Coast vibes to it. In this song alone, thou knows, very British thing to say. That sort of even they say Trina in the lyrics there. That's a kind of English way to say, I think. It just comes from someone just from a comedic sense. There's a lot of British stuff in there. Suck It and See had a lot of Britishisms within the comedic stuff, which is why we started doing it. And I just noticed listening to AM today, I was like, oh yeah, there's so many to point out in the lyrics of AM where you say they've gone American, but that's so British, that's British, that's British, that's British. So it's almost like they may have gone American in a sound sense, but very much embedded in the core of the lyrics and stuff is still the fact that they're not only British, but Northern. There's a lot of Northern stuff in there. So I think it's going to be interesting to get you on some of or you might be on it permanently. I don't know. Nick might choke. Nick might snuff it. I don't know. So, so yeah, it'd be interesting to get your takes on some of that because it's a sexy American album, but they deny that, don't they? Actually, they sort of say, well, you just think that because we recorded it in the US. I've heard Alex say that, but actually, we don't see it that way. So, I mean, the Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High video is set in London, so but yeah, then they just repeat. I think for me, this song is the perfect palate cleanser from AM. Suck It and See. It bridges the gap. I almost wish it was the last one before we go into it, because You and I feels like an English rock song actually more than it feels like anything else. I think but although there is a lot of that, there's a lot of American.
You have one more though
well.
too. Technically, a good bridge song that kind of fits this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Not as strong, but it definitely kind of still.
Well, you know what? that was one of the songs I put on the playlist today, and I kind of assumed it was kind of like a throwaway IDST type of song, but no. You know when you don't listen to something and you think, oh, Electricity, that's just the Are You Mine B-side, overshadowed by Are You Mine perhaps, but then I listened to it again, like, and I thought, because I've always liked it, but I always just thought it was that same riff, doon diddly doon, like IDST, but actually there's so much more to that, yeah. And in fact,
Electricity.
In fact, probably retract what I said about this being the most Queens of the Stone Age sound that they've got, actually, because I forgot about Electricity when I said that. Actually, that probably hits there, but we will be talking about that in only a short couple of weeks. So, but for Valentine's Day, actually, I think Electricity, that's our Valentine's Day episode, so very romantic in a way. So we've got some hot takes, so let's do our favourite lyric first. And I've got a tough call to make.
Too busy with the mind on clever lines.
Well, obviously, I said that I had three of my favourites in there, so it's kind of a Sophie's choice. So I'm going to go with "It's more a hunger than a thirst. She'll break your heart the second time before you know about the first."
Yeah, that's the same one I chose. Yeah, I think that's the most clever,
special.
Just like everyone knows that kind of feeling. I think,
yeah, that is a special one, Alex. It's a special one.
Yeah.
Favorite musical moment as well. Interesting.
Mad sounds in your ears. They make you get up and dance. They make you get up.
I really wanted to give it to Matt because I'm a Matt sycophant, but I have to give it to the bass. I think I can't not give it to the bass. It's such a good bass line. He's had so many taking the crown so many times on this album.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one purely out of just pure love, enjoyment about it. Is the lead guitar, the fuzz lead guitar after he says it's not what I need. Like, I love when that line comes up, and I love how it complements his vocal pattern, and it's a part of the chorus itself, like it is a vocal pattern. I just love it. I always get excited when it's coming up.
Yeah. So does that go to Jamie then, or Alex? Do you think?
Alex played it live.
Nearly, Jamie. You nearly got one. But yeah, I think my favorite. I think going off that being sort of your favorite moment in the song, I think mine, in that sense of it being my favorite moment, would probably be She Said. Oh, well, I know this will sound cold, but I really have to go. Yeah, that's probably my favorite moment, that bit. But without further ado, I think we basically have to play two jingles for this one, really. It's going to be we'll do a hot take one, obviously, for this one.
She flicks a red hot revelation off the tip of her tongue.
But I think it does also warrant a
too much to discuss over a bucket of balls.
So I'll just get my first one out of the way, which might be one of your four, because I've only got one, and then we can dig into yours. It's probably one of yours, but should this be on the album? I think we knew it was going to come up.
Yes.
Okay, but you can't add it.
Yeah,
you have to remove something. You got to swap it. Them's the rules.
So easy for me.
It's like killing. It's like drowning one of my sort of newborn babies for me. But I got. All right. Okay. Go on.
Well, okay. So since I wasn't on the one B-side episode, I wasn't on. I'll kind of jump off of that one, because I agreed with both of you that Blondo Sonic would be a much better replacement where Library Pictures was. You guys said you thought, most people would replace Brick by Brick, but I completely agree. I would replace Library Pictures with Blondo Sonic. And with that, in that same idea, building off that idea, which will lead to some other hot takes, I guess, I would replace Don't Sit Down with this song. So this would be track number 5. It would go this song, Blondo Sonic, All My Own Stunts. So this would completely replace Don't Sit Down for me.
So It's interesting to know where it would go for me because let's assume Library Pictures is gone and we put Blonde Sonic on. Thank God you didn't take off any of the second half of the album. No, I might have started crying.
No.
So, yeah. So I think I would probably take off Library Pictures. You know, if I wasn't already putting Blonde Sonic there.
Yeah.
See, I quite like the idea of. Okay, this is going to be controversial as fuck, but I'm saying it, and I have the right to listen to this back and go, "What the fuck are you talking about?" It's 10 to midnight here, so I could be delirious. I would actually. So it goes, "Don't sit down, Hellcat." And it goes, "Don't sit down, Hellcat." Actually, my dream scenario.
It goes Brick, Hellcat, Don't Sit Down.
Oh, sorry, "Don't Sit Down." Then Library Pictures, yeah.
Yeah. So mine would be Brick by Brick, Hellcat, Evil Twin, Blondo Sonic, All My Own Stunts.
What I would do is, okay, I would actually replace All My Own Stunts with Blondo Sonic, and then I would replace Library Pictures with Evil Twin. Okay. So it would go Hellcat, Don't Sit Down. So Don't Sit Down would end. And then go into the drums of Evil Twin, and then that would end and go into the Blondo Sonic shit. Because I think my weakest song on don't get me wrong, I love All My Own Stunts, but my weakest song on the album is I could see All My Own Stunts as a B-side in Another Life, and I certainly don't think All My Own Stunts is better than Evil Twin. So, you know, if to be honest, if we hadn't already put Blondo Sonic, I might have just replaced All My Own Stunts with Evil Twin anyway, and had Don't Sit Down, Library Pictures, Evil Twin, and then boom. Now it does take out a segue into the slower one, so I would probably have moved Hellcat. My dream one would probably be She's Thunderstorms, Black Treacle, Brick by Brick, Don't Sit Down, Library Pictures, Evil Twin, Hellcat, because Hellcat feels like it should be with Love's Laser Quest, Reckless Serenade, you know, that kind of stuff. So I think, I think that's what I'd do. And I'd have All My Own Stunts as a B-side.
Oh, no.
And Library Pictures. But I could be talking absolute bonkers here. So this is something we actually do on the wrap-up, isn't it? So on the wrap-up, that may change. But right now, in this moment, that's what I would do. Because I do like All My Own Stunts a lot. And I really like doing it. But there is something of the not as good a quality as, because there's something I like about Suck and See having the rock on it as well. So I'm removing too much of the rock. Do you know what I mean? And because I've always said it would have to be replaced melodic of the same quality. So, and I think it would be weird to have no Don't Sit Down and no Library Pictures, but have Evil Twin. Like, that would feel even more out of place. Like, at least there's a little run of rock songs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think, Let
me explain a little bit more of my thinking too, from my point of view, because I discussed it a little bit before you guys even got into Suck It and See. I don't mind the rock versions of it, but one thing that I said before is the talking about this, does it match sonically and does it match lyrically? Okay. Mm-hmm. So I think Brick by Brick matches sonically, but doesn't match lyrically because it's, you know, silly, which is fine. Yeah. I think All My Own Stunts,
although technically about love.
Yeah. So,
I suppose,
that's why I really don't have a problem with Brick by Brick. I think All My Own Stunts matches lyrically, but not sonically, because it's got more of a, you know, kind of a AM, little bit of humbug vibe. I don't think Library Pictures or Don't Sit Down matches sonically or lyrically. I don't think it does. Whereas I think Blondo Sonic matches lyrically, where they're talking about the car and the, you know, snapping the wing mirrors off a Cadillac. That fits the LA vibe. And obviously I think Evil Twin matches sonically and lyrically. So that's why I would personally take off Don't Sit Down, which to me kind of sounds more like humbug, and the lyrics are kind of jokey. And then Library Pictures, which kind of, so I think both aspects sonically and lyrically don't match for Don't Sit Down and Library Pictures for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's interesting. I think it's one for the wrap up where I need to sit down and like listen to the album, and listen to them, and then like what I have to do is create little playlists that I can go, okay, how would that flow? You know, I have to map it out, otherwise I'll say something mad like I just said then. But I think as well, but because Suck It and See is a weird one lyrically, because although you go love, there's also a song about breakup and a song about looking back at someone that broke your heart. You know, Love Is a Laser Quest. So Evil Twin kind of fits on that from a rejection point of view. It's not all happy, is it? Suck It and See in terms of the love stuff. But yeah, obviously Don't Sit Down, Live Pictures are left field, massively left field, you know, in terms of that. Although unless you subscribe to the internet theory, I mean, I subscribe to my theory that that the Library Picture Canoe thing is the space shuttle video.
Yeah, that's okay, but it still doesn't really match the love idea.
Remember there was a disgusting internet theory that the canoe fast canoe was a penis going into a vagina. Remember, the quickening canoe was an erection. So, you know, if you want to go along with that one, then it does fit. But yeah, that was probably one of the most disgusting takes on a lyric I've ever read. I was horrified. Like, I don't even want to relay it, but I have to. So yeah, let's park that and come back to it on the album. I think that will be a big wrap-up topic, with many more probably. And Nick may be here from his deathbed. So as we turn off his machine and say goodbye. So shall we? You've got some more hot takes.
Oh well. So I guess it's still in the same conversation. Another thing, so if Evil Twin did replace Don't Sit Down is played a lot now in the live sets, but during the AM tour and Second and C tour, Evil Twin was played a lot. I think the band liked the song a lot. And I not only do I think it matches better sonically and lyrically, I think if it had replaced Don't Sit Down like I thought it was, and it was like the lead or the rock single, let's say it was the rock single of this album, I think it would have helped this album. I think old fans, like, I think it matches that blend like we talked about. It has those elements of Teddy Picker, of, you know, Still Take You Home and stuff like that, while also introducing this new kind of element. I don't know. I just think they already had a music video for it, which fits in the trilogy of music video. They're telling this story. I think it just fits better as a whole marketing idea. I think it makes this album better from beginning to finish, like conceptually selling the album and everything.
Well, I would say one, I agree. Two, the fact that it got to number 16 in the charts as a B-side suggests that had it been on the album and released as a single, it could have been an even bigger hit.
Yeah.
There. Probably because, and three, it lends into what I've been talking about this whole album of, are those riffs wasted on comedy lyrics? If they were about love, would they be a bigger hit? Evil Twin is the case study for that. And the answer is obviously resounding yes, because it got the highest in the charts, you know. Yes, I agree. And that it had the potential, and I would rather have it in the set than Don't Sit Down. Don't Sit Down has become one of these sort of stale lives. Not stale. When I see it, I love it, obviously, but it's one that I could lose. It's like Dance Floor. It's like, I'm done with this now. Come on, can we not? There's fans that still want it every time, and I'm like, no, come on. Can we have something more interesting back in there? Like, you know. But I have seen them 14 times, so not everyone. Some people want to see the songs that they haven't seen before, so I can't really, figure them out. But what I will say as well is, the interesting question on that is, we theorize it, and they quite clearly do love the song, and I think it probably was a favorite of theirs. But we don't know that it was written when the album was done, because they went into that studio and recorded the album very quickly live with a practiced, rehearsed songs that they just recorded. This was done when they did by Russ Orton, for a single. So we don't know, and we don't know if they shot the Suck It and See video and the Black Treacle videos, and then they use the kind of extra footage to put together a video, because that's kind of the vibe you get from it, don't you?
That's
To
true,
get the extra
that's
vibe to get. So I get the sense that this wasn't even written when Suck It and See was done, and it was a few months later when they're touring, and they write. You hear it all the time. They wrote the riff in the sound check or whatever. And then they put it together. They recorded it for the B-side, and then they said, "Oh, let's do there's loads of this footage left. Let's do a third, the trilogy of that story," because Alex loves like filmic trilogy, cinematic things, doesn't he? Let's do that. So I could see. I don't think it was ever a possibility. It's not like an egregious bad thing where you could have put "What If You Were Right First Time" or "Too Much to Ask" on the album, but you put the bad thing on there, which is fucking ridiculous, Alex. His biggest misstep ever, probably. But apart from being friends with Miles, but this could have. I don't think this was a possibility. I don't think they sat down and went, right, should we bump Evil Twin and put library pictures on? I can't imagine that ever being a world, because even if you
fair,
even if you in your wildest dreams think that the bad thing was a mistake, right, and they should have put those songs on, it's a whole different level now to being years later. There's no way if they had Evil Twin recorded and done that wouldn't have gone on the album. I just can't see the ludicrousness of that. Like you said, it fits lyrically with the album so much more. I just can't see a world where they where they had it sat there and they went, right, so what should we have as a B-side and what? Right, so we want roughly like 2 proper rock songs on the album. So should we have Don't Sit Down? We like Don't Sit Down. That's a good one. That's got a good riff. Should we have Library Pictures or Evil Twin? And they went, let's put Library Pictures on it. I just can't see that in a million years. So they may have done that with Blondasonic, but I think Blondasonic isn't as strong a case. Me, you, and Nick like that idea, but I don't think it's as strong a case as like it should definitely be on there, But I think Evil Twin should 100% be on the album if they had it. So I just think they didn't have it then. I just don't think it was a done song. Because otherwise it would have been recorded by James Ford, right? So
yeah, unless it was that one that it was too complicated or whatever, which is faster. But I mean, Library Pictures is probably faster, to be honest. So
I mean,
that's probably
if
not
it was
the
too
case.
Yeah, if it was too complicated, they figured it out pretty quickly after they came out of the studio, didn't they? So yeah, I don't think it existed I think maybe they wish it was and they could have put it on the album, But I think they made the right choice in not saving it for AM, though. I do think that's the right choice.
Yeah, that's true. I do agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, any more hot takes?
I think no, that's good for now.
It's like, you're holding some back on us for the wrap up.
Well,
okay.
we have to have some special, discussions for the wrap up, of course, too.
Yeah, I mean, we'll 100% resume this conversation as well once we've had time to kind of mull over, and I'm going to make the list that we do and stuff like that.
Able to kind of add his 2 cents. So
yeah, well, perhaps, through a Stephen Hawking voice box, probably. But I don't. We'll do AI, Nick. But I don't. I think it's going to be interesting. I think probably we're not going to keep doing the live gig where we add to it every album. So this will probably be that discussion will probably replace a lot of that as well, and we'll just do a live gig for this album rather than. Yeah, we can't keep adding to the albums because then we're gonna have like a 7-album gig, long. Which is nuts. And if we narrow it back down, it gives me the opportunity to edit those together, like I did on the second album one. For the first 2 albums, like to turn them into actual gigs in the edit. But when it's like 4 albums, I'll be there for days. More on that to come because there is. On these topics, there is
too much to discuss. Oh.
So there you go. Thank you, Alex. But yeah, let's see what AI said about our last song of the Suck It and See era, an era that even Nick couldn't live through. So it killed him off.
You push the button and we'll do the rest.
You and I is a whiskey-soaked love letter to the night, delivered with a swaggering Sheffield grit and a poetic pulse. Richard Hawley emerges here as a northern bard with a voice like a weathered jukebox in a smoky pub corner. You have no idea how great that line is from the AI. Like that is spot on. Equal parts heartbreak and charm. I was going to ask you actually, sorry to break off. Have you ever been here?
Yeah, to England.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to London. Yep. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. We need to use the subscriber money to bring you for a short tour of Sheffield, don't you? A bar crawl of Sheffield.
That would be amazing.
That'd be a great documentary. Yeah. I wish we made enough subscriber money to fly you over and put you up in a hotel in Sheffield.
Well, at least
that'd be nice.
if I ever have any vacation and I'm planning to head that way, we can at least plan to meet up, of course.
That'd be great to do the Arctic Monkey Sheffield tour. That would be a good video to put together to film.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, to get your take on it, because my Nick's takes on it wouldn't be that interesting, really, would it? I mean, we live like an hour away or something. So yeah, picking that back up, Richard Hawley emerges here as a northern bard with a voice like a weathered jukebox in a smoky pub corner, equal parts heartbreak and charm, laced with the unmistakable cadence of his Steel City roots. The Steel City is the nickname for Sheffield, by the way, because it used to create steel. This track rolls it, back when we had industries here. This track rolls in like a thundercloud, heavy with longing and electric with indecision. It's a tale of a man caught in the crossfire of his own emotions, lost in the glow of a lover's gaze, but teetering on the edge of escape. There's a raw vulnerability masked by a tough exterior. Lyrics that are bruised but still smirking like a poet scribbling his sorrows on the back of a beer mat. The rhythm chugs like an engine idle in the dead of night, matching the push-pull tension in Hawley's smoky baritone. He's the soul of Sheffield here, spinning tales of lonely streets, flickering lights, and love that's as sharp as the city's winter air. You and I is both a howl into the void and a knowing grin to anyone who's ever been drunk on desire and stranded in indecision. A rock ballad with a northern heart beating steady and true. As I'm saying, the AI's nailed it again there. Yeah. Probably actually built it up too much, to be fair. I mean, if you hadn't heard the song before and you heard that and then you listened to it. So it is I do like it. It's a good song and we get a good video as well. I love the video for you and I. There's a specific part of it, but that'll be only for subscribers, so subscribe. So yeah, thank you again, Justin, for a very meaty episode.
Of course.
Yeah, but we will be back. I think, who knows, but it's most likely going to be you back next week again. In fact, I will find out. But if not, we will see you for the wrap up. And see you all next week, everybody.
Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Nick Lee and Dan Holt. The music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. And if you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We will see you next week with more of the same.